guys in that Tigers camp, and they've been talking about, does he make the team or not? Is he ready yet? But a little bit tough path for him to make the team, but he's definitely making it a difficult decision for AJ Hinch.
Perez into right field, and Tatis won't get there. So two hard hit balls sandwiched around the green ground out. And for Luis Severino, no cause for concern, just trying to get his work in and also establish familiarity with his catcher.
Well, sometimes too, it's tough in these types of exhibition games and in spring training. Sometimes as a starting pitcher, you're trying to get a feel for the game, and those opposing hitters sometimes can disrupt your plans of doing that with their aggressiveness.
Spencer Torkelson, the batter, first overall pick in 2020. Last year, 31 home runs, second time he's done that in the last 3 years. We'll see how aggressive some of these base runners are. Perez taking his lead over at first.
Yeah, the thing about with Severino coming into this game, like I said, sometimes you're trying to get a feel for this game, and the hitters will kind of tell you on how aggressive you need to be as far as your pitch calling and with your fastball location. Nice pitch right there.
I remember talking to Spencer Torkelson on headset after they won their opening round playoff series against the Guardians, and how that was really such a monkey off the back of this team after blowing that division lead to take Cleveland out in the postseason. And I think we touched on this just the other night, the fact that they took the Mariners the distance, 5 games. This Tigers team is on the cusp of breaking through to that next level.
Yeah, well, they struggled towards the end of the year, but they won the games they needed to in order to get in there. And I remember going, watching that, and even being on MLB Tonight over the course of the end of last season, talking about our season in 2009 when I was in Detroit, and we had a similar collapse in the last year of the last month of that season, where we were 7 games up on the Twins, and it just, and the Twins ended up catching us, right? And we had a month left to go in the season, and we ended up having to play a game 163 for the division. So it can be tough when you're trying to get out of a funk like that. But credit to them, they were able to win the games they needed to, and then they turned it on in the playoffs.
So you could already see the sweat starting to pour down on Luis Severino. First pitch home run from Kevin McGonigal, and then a 1-out single from Perez. He was on the move on that last pitch. And now Torkelson. This one hangs up and left for Soto, and there are 2 away.
Yeah, a couple of hanging sliders from Severino. Perez had a nice hard hit, base hit on that one, and that one there Torkelson hits it hard. But Severino right here, here's his pitch arsenal, right? Four-seam fastball, sweeper, sinker. That's what he's known for. Kind of get that fastball up to 96, 97 miles an hour. And it's all about commanding in the zone for him to be able to get the swing and miss outside the zone and filling up the strike zone early to be able to get the chase.
There's another youngster for the Tigers, Colt Keith. Couldn't hold up.
Yeah, you can tell these Tigers have the aggressive mindset early. Colt Keith is ready to take a hack on that one if he saw fastball.
Yeah, he was committing. You could see it right there. Tigers in attack mode. And this one's fanned the other way inside the line. Machado was pulled off the bag. And it's another base hit with Perez going to third on a 2-out double from Colt Keith.
Yeah, the Dominican team shaded a little bit to the right with the left-hander Colt Keith up there. Just kind of an excuse-me swing there by Colt Keith. Kind of gets jammed on a cutter and sneaks it down the third base line. I think even if Mandy was even playing normal third base position, not sure if he would have gotten that one. Just perfect placement.
Third base umpire Tyler Jones got the best look at it. And now 2 in scoring position for Max Clark. Another high fastball, probably not too pleased. There's MLB's number 10 prospect. The jewelry may be hidden tonight, but the sleeves are out. And you said the overall feeling about this kid in camp is that he's one of the nicest guys they have.
No, he's a tremendous person. Met him when I was there in Lakeland a couple of weeks ago. Great head on his shoulders, very aware, of what he's trying to accomplish, and just a tremendous human being.
So we showed you the pitch arsenal for Luis Severino. 6 different offerings. He throws 4 of those pitches at least 18% of the time. And we're seeing a little bit of everything in what is right now a 17-pitch top of the first. Perez at third, Keith at second. And Clark caught out of the air by Guerrero. Broke his bat. Vladdy gets over to make the play. And the Tigers can only get the 1. They leave 2. The DRs coming up right after this.
All right, so guys.
Line drive, base hit, center field.
Got a bird.
Coming around third, DeRosa's going to win the ball game. It got by Crisp. It's a walk-off whip in the bottom of the 10th.
That ball hit the bird. It deflected. The birds are out here. It hits a bird. He goes down for the count. How about that?
This one's for the birds.
There's the bunt. That could be trouble as Petrie. No, Stevie dives in and beats it. Good effort by Steve Lyons.
That'll be a base hit right there. Good job. I'll tell you one thing, not a bad defensive play either by the Tigers.
Did you see that? He's going to get the dirt out, and all of a sudden he unbuckled his pants and they fell down.
A lot of baseball fans have some familiarity with the T206 American Tobacco card set. Of course, features the famous Hannes Wagner card. What we have here are 3 cards from the lesser-known T205 set, which really was a successor to T206. T206 came out in 1909. These 3 cards, as part of the T205 set, came out in 1911.
The name of the business is Legacy Catering. We all were talking about how Mom taught us all how to cook. She was a cook at the public school system for ages. So we all started to cook with her, so we decided, to do the business, so we went to figure out what we're gonna call it. So we said, let's cook in honor of, our mother, so that's what Legacy came in. And just remember that Legacy Catering is about people, and this is what barbecuing is all about, and this is why we love it.
And community go hand in hand. And with
there's so much history right here, and when I put it on...
With a bomb off Luis Severino on the very first pitch he saw. 1 for the Tigers. Here comes the DR with Fernando Tatis Jr. It looked like Ty Madden was tired after letting go of his first pitch.
Well, it looked like Fernando had the same idea as McGonigal right there, going after that first pitch.
Those are the numbers from a year ago. Fernando appearing in his first WBC. Yeah, just make sure the spikes are passing a little bit better. Fernando 268 a year ago, 25 homers, 71 ribbies. Also 32 for 39 on steals. Fans already getting into it for the top of the order.
Yeah, I love hearing that with the crowd. That's something that this Tigers team is going to experience. I mean, that crowd's going to be rocking pretty much all game, playing the instruments. They've got chants going on for all the players on that Dominican team.
Ty Madden, the 26-year-old for the Tigers, not getting the low pitch, 3-1. Good to see him back in action. Missed all of last year because of a shoulder strain that he suffered around this time. Highly touted, 32nd overall pick out of Texas in 2021. Top 20 prospect the last 2 years for the Tigers. Those colors look really good on Fernando Tatis Jr. And it goes the other way. Base hit into right field. So we told you this DR team is stacked. Nando already aboard. getting his dugout fired up, and this is what it looks like for Madden and the Tigers pitchers to follow. Marte, Soto, Guerrero, Manny, Caminero, Rodriguez, Wells, and Perdomo. Vladdy in the hole after a memorable postseason a year ago. There's Ketel Marte. The fans already clamoring for more. Ground ball to second, only one play there from McKinstry to get Marte.
Yeah, that's the smart play there by McKinstry. Instead of trying to turn double play, knowing Fernando runs really well. And with Marte running down the line, your best choice right there, just going to first base and get the out.
Alex, you said it before, common thread between these two, swinging early.
Yeah, I mean, very aggressive early on so far in this game, in this first inning. You know, guys trying to get a feel, get some timing. You know, also, you know, getting used to the atmosphere and the lights in that stadium is probably a little bit different.
Sure.
So, but, you know, guys are raring to go and excited.
They are on their feet. They are taking photos and video, hoping to capture one Soto shuffle. Tatis already in scoring position. Madden trying to figure out the strike zone of John Lipka. Brian Honora at first base, Eric Backus at second, Tyler Jones over at third. As you get a look at last year's numbers for the four-time All-Star Juan Soto. Yeah, there's the first one.
Yeah, you can see so many of the fans, you know, have their phones out, getting video, getting pictures. This is the first time they've seen, you know, their national team playing in front of them on the island in Santo Domingo. So this is a great experience for them.
Not used to seeing Albert in eyeglasses, but he gets a better look now at Soto, who has as good of an understanding of the strike zone as anybody. 3-0. You don't think these guys want this in an exhibition?
Well, I think they're just as excited, even in an exhibition. Being able to play in front of their home fans is a big deal.
Turn him loose. There he goes. Did he get enough on it? This one's back and right for Perez. Takes a long time to come down. And Tatis tags to third.
Yeah, that fastball right there, center cut, you know, 3-0 fastball, but, you know, Juan Soto just getting under that one. But Ty Madden, you talked about it, you know, prospect for the Detroit Tigers, you know, had that shoulder, the shoulder rotator cuff strain, but big fastball, mid to upper 90s, featuring a slider, cutter, splitter. He's got a sinker and curve, so he's got a lot of pitches to work with, and it's, you know, he's been working his way back from the injury last year, so good to see him pitch a couple of innings in spring already this year and look good so far.
A chance for Vladdy with Tatis at third. I'm as excited to watch Vladimir Guerrero as any player as he gets ready for his first WBC. Five-time All-Star. 292 a year ago, 23 homers, 84 knocked in. And I'm sure for Guerrero, compared to some others, still feeling the sting of how last year ended in Game 7 at home.
Oh, it's absolutely going to be motivation for him and that Blue Jays team.
Ty Madden, that's 13 pitches, only 5 strikes.
There was a couple of close ones, you know, credit to him so far, and Rogers behind the plate, like continuing to pitch. I mean, maybe a couple of pitches didn't go his way, but you know, still working there. 1-1 slider right there, you know, got, you know, Guerrero out in front to get the foul ball and get a strike there.
2-2. Vladdy turns the ripe old age of 27 on March 16th. Hard to believe that he just completed his 7th big league season. Last year, the first year of that 14-year, $500 million deal, which keeps him as the face of the city of Toronto. 2-2. Good adjustment.
Yeah, that's the old backup breaking ball right there. Sometimes can get a pitcher in trouble, but sometimes ends up being a pretty good pitch there, getting in on the hands of Guerrero.
Even the Tigers are looking around saying, hey, this is pretty cool. So we know about the Soto shuffle. What do we call a Vladdy move in the box? That's a new one.
Yeah, well, you can see how intense he's taking this at bat. I mean, it's just, even though it's just an exhibition game, like he understands like this means a lot. He's trying to make sure that he is matching the intensity level, to get ready for this WBC.
Rogers setting up outside. Vladdy on it. Fouls it straight back.
Yeah, this is a tremendous at bat. He's trying to make sure he's, in swing mode, ready to go, but at the same time can shut it down like you saw on the pitch before, on a pitch that is out of the zone.
Another payoff. He got him. Madden wins the battle and blows the fastball by him. Tatis stranded at third. We're going to the second.
Swung on, bang toward third. Fielded, dropped by Zimmerman. Now he can't come up with it. It's in his jersey. It went in his jersey. He kept looking for the ball, and it stuck underneath one of the buttons into his jersey.
How did it do that?
Have you ever seen that?
No.
And what's the ruling? A base hit.
Riley Green looking to add on and maybe take a lead. Riley Green, fly ball right center field. This one's deep. Watch it fly! Gone! How about it? Riley Green's first of the postseason delivers a 4-3 lead for the Tigers in the sixth.
Wow, just stayed on that breaking ball. Man, did he hammer that thing. That was 3/4 of the way up those seats out there in right center field.
I was so inspired by what you were making that I want to do my own all-star ballpark bite, but I'm thinking we take some of that brisket that you make, and I'm gonna do like a little slider. Got the pepper jack cheese, some American, get it going with some of the barbecue sauce that you have, that spicy, delicious one, and then caramelized onions. Make like a little sandwich. We cool?
Sound like a plan.
I think we did good.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chef.
I believe this one's it's a rookie card, I know, but I feel like it's the first card that I ever, like big league card. Obviously as a kid, trying to get to the big leagues, the dream of making it, but as a kid that had cards, right, as a kid, this is like seeing your card the first time is pretty cool. So that's pretty powerful when you see that card.
Van Poppel starts his motion, stumbles, the ball gets away, and the runners move up. I think there's going to be a full moon tonight.
Green gives a great effort, goes straight up above. Boy, a strange play right there. Hunter at the wall, jump.
And the DR, here is the current MLB breakdown by birthplace according to last year's opening day rosters. An overwhelming U.S. contingent followed by the DR. And there's Luis Severino blowing one by McKinstry for strike one.
I think, Greg, that just shows you right there, like just baseball is life on that island in the DR. And, for a lot of players as kids, like that is what they grew up wanting to become, is become a Major League Baseball player. And, you could probably compare it a little bit to maybe some European countries in soccer, but for the Dominican Republic, baseball is it.
The Dominican Professional League is a big deal. Back in December, Leones del Escogido won their second straight league championship and 18th overall. 2 years ago, it was Albert Pujols who managed them to a league championship, and then they eventually won their 5th Caribbean Series. Ball and 2 strikes, Sam McKinstry.
I played winter ball after my first year in the big leagues in 2009. Let me tell you, they take it extremely seriously. Like, you better come and perform, because you might get a week leeway, and if you're not performing, that crowd gets on you, and they'll let you know that you're not doing too well.
They remember everything, and that's a nice piece. Knocked down by Guerrero. He can't find it, and McKinstry ends up beating Marte to first. So Guerrero's been targeted here on the last couple of balls in play. Clark hit the soft liner, and then you see Vladdy here, unable to squeeze it.
Yeah, he thinks he has it right in his glove, and it just ends up popping out. And heads up by McKinstry to not just kind of put his head down and turn around back to the dugout a la Sean Casey, and ends up getting on first.
The U.S. team playing their exhibition against the Giants earlier today. Vladdy would tell you that's an error.
Yeah, close one right there. Nice job by McKinstry, though. That's what they always teach you when you take your lead.
Broken bat roller, that's muscled through by Lorenzo. McKinstry not going to test the arm of Fernando.
Yeah, I was saying earlier, sometimes as a base runner, when you're diving back to first base, right, you want to dive back to the outside part to stay away from the tag. But ball sneaks through the right side here on a broken bat base hit. McKinstry thinking about going to third base, but I think right there having to get out of the way kind of stopped his momentum a little bit, and definitely not going to test Fernando's arm.
I mean, he's playing 3 games of dodgeball right here. The ball, the dirt, the bat, and there's a lot happening right there.
Yeah, a little slip after
coming
around second base.
Cue the Benny Hill music for Zach McKinstry. After the single from Lorenzo, 4th hit for the Tigers. And now Rogers, the 9th man in the order tonight. Rogers settling into the backup role a year ago. Quickly down 0-2. Dylan Dingler ended up making the most of the opportunity. He became an all-star behind the plate.
Yeah, I think between Dingler and Rogers, they got 2 tremendous defensive catchers back there for this pitching staff, and both have a little pop.
That is a tight zone.
No ABS challenges in this game or throughout the World Baseball Classic, so something the guys are going to have to adjust to.
Rogers is saying, boy, I dodged the bullet there. And that time, Severino puts him down for good.
Yeah, after that breaking ball right there, Severino not wasting any more pitches right there, ends up blowing by a fastball to Rogers, just not able to catch up.
Almost looked like he missed his spot a little bit, but it had enough late run on it to get Rogers. 1 strikeout for Severino first time through.
That fastball was exploding through the zone.
Here's his arch nemesis, who took him deep on the very first pitch. And that one skips off Wells. Both runners read the dirt ball perfectly.
Yeah, sometimes as a base runner, like you see that ball kick back and you're not really sure where the ball's at, but Wells right there just not able to corral that one. That's the one thing too that you got to understand, with this WBC tournament, some catchers are going to be catching pitchers that they haven't seen before all that often. So getting familiar, that's something why these exhibition games are important for that catcher-pitcher relationship, getting some familiarity.
McGonigal in 183 minor league games since he was the 37th pick in 2023, a .308 hitter with a .922 OPS in the minor leagues. That's 25 home runs, 130 ribbies, and the most impressive thing, 123 walks to 84 strikeouts. The eye is so good already.
Yeah, talking with AJ a couple of weeks ago about this kid, like he loves his attitude, the way he kind of grinds everything out.
Another nice poke into right center. McGonigal does it again. 1 run is in. That's McKinstry. Lorenzo behind him. And Kevin McGonigal is single-handedly carrying the Tigers.
Yeah, Kevin McGonigal, he's trying to make sure that they don't send him down, that he wants to make this team and definitely making a difficult decision for them because he's been playing fantastic baseball. Gets a fastball up in the zone, gets the bat head out, and it's a nice line drive to right center.
All the talk has been about Connor Griffin, the #1 prospect, breaking camp with the Pirates. McGonigal saying, I want to be part of that conversation too. What a start. 2 knocks, 3 ribbies.
He's playing his way onto this Tigers roster.
You hit enough. Eventually he's going to make it very
gotta find
difficult.
a spot for you.
And now Riley Green, soft one over to Machado at third. Notice that Manny's been playing way off the line for the lefties.
Yeah, I mean, teams are still, kind of semi-shifting, left-handed batters, and you can't go all the way, but you're trying to play the percentages. The other thing too is you got Machado. He's much more athletic than most, so you can play him a little bit farther off than some other third bases just because of his athleticism.
We get to see him. We get to see Nolan Arenado in his new hairstyle. A strike in on Wenzel Perez, who I thought would have made a pretty good fit for this WBC team. 26-year-old from Azua in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, the versatility that he brings to AJ and this team, for this Tigers team, is a big key. And he was down a little bit early on in the year, battling some injuries, but when he came back for this Tigers team was a big part of this team, and giving some guys some days off and still providing a really good quality at bat.
Yeah, you got a great look at that shift once again with Machado way off the line at third. Perez not trying to be the hero. He had a single his first time up. And Wells coming out to talk to the former Yankees Severino's up to 36 pitches.
Yeah, this is a good visit right here from Wells. Just, the 36 pitches already through, a couple of innings here for Severino. He's had to work a little bit, trying to give him a little breather.
So earlier we talked about the home road splits for Severino. Playing in Sacramento, 2-9, ERA just over 6 in 15 starts. Then you look at what he did on the road, 6-2, ERA of 3. So he basically cut his ERA in half, pitching away from Sacramento.
Yeah, I mean that's something that a lot of the players had talked about. Playing in that ballpark. It was trying to figure out what they could and couldn't do, what they from a pitching perspective, how it was going to play, and that was definitely a learning experience, I think, for a lot of those A's players. And going into this year, I'm sure some of those guys will make some adjustments, but it's definitely a hitter-friendly park.
Helmet came down over his eyes with that healthy swing, 2-2.
Yeah, good swing there by Perez. Just misses a fastball.
When you swing out of your helmet, you're going all or nothing. Good adjustment to the breaker. This one lifted into left. Soto does not have a play. As you get a look at a lefty warming up in that Dominican bullpen down the line. So last year, Perez started the year on the 60-day IL. He had lumbar spine inflammation. Didn't debut until May 27th, but he homered in his first AB off Logan Webb. And that time, Severino starting to come back with a little vinegar. Strikes him out. That's 2 in the inning, but 2 more ribbies for Kevin McGonigal. It's McGonigal and the Tigers 3. DR looking for their first run after this.
All right, Ryan, PSA dove in. Do we have them graded?
We do. This is the first set of graded cards from the 2024 Topps MLB Network set.
I'm so excited about this.
Yeah.
Now, they all have the same grade, or?
No.
So one of us will be like the highest graded card.
Could be. There could be multiple.
Okay,
so first up, we got Mark DeRosa.
Let's see what D-Rose. Of course, D-Rose a 10 out of 10. Handsome, athletic. All right.
They're inspecting Negro, saying he's either loading up the baseball or something.
Checking him all over. I've never seen him do a search like this. Quite like this before.
What did they find in his pocket?
I don't know. He's out of it.
He's been kicked out of the game. And Negro is moved as he goes over to the first base dugout and then onto the shower.
Left center Profar sprints over. Oh, he lost it. It looked like it was going to be a really good play for Jurickson Profar.
He did not see that ball. He didn't even come close to it.
These interactions between De La Cruz and Tito Francona have been priceless.
Got it there.
Yes, indeed. And the ball wasn't the only thing that landed in the basket.
What in the world happened out there to Jung-Hoo Lee? That's wild. I mean, you don't see that in the big leagues.
Do you see yourself maybe one day after baseball, like maybe food critic, food writer?
I would love to do that. That's the plan. I've been doing it ever since I was in the big leagues. It's just fun. It's fun to interact with people, like the fans, because a lot of my followers are baseball fans. So it's nice to interact with them on a topic that's not baseball. A lot of people seem to rally around that. I mean, who doesn't love good food?
.com. Check out the largest selection of authentic World Baseball Classic jerseys, caps, t-shirts, and more. Visit MLBshop.com, the official source for all your World Baseball Classic gear. And right back to work as Manny Machado comes to the plate for the first time, getting a loud ovation as these fans look to cheer their way back from 3-0 down.
They get a look at Manny Machado there with that C on that jersey, being named captain of this Dominican team. Having played on this team for the last 3 World Baseball Classics, has been just a fixture for this national team and has always done really well in this tournament.
Madden going with the slider right there, 1-2. Manny, 33 years old now. For his WBC career, 11 hits and 43 at-bats. That's a .256 average. 3 homers, 6 RBIs over 10 games. Of course, he was part of one of the biggest moments in World Baseball Classic history at Petco Park several years ago. Thought he had a home run to straightaway center, but Adam Jones had a different idea.
His teammate with the Orioles took it back from him.
Fastball popped foul. Manny among active players. 369 homers is 4th. Over 2,000 hits is 5th. And over 1,100 ribbies, good for 6th. As PB likes to say on that Hall of Fame highway.
Yeah, if he stays healthy, he's got a chance to get to 3,000 hits, I think.
Count fills up with Junior Caminero on deck.
Yeah, Madden got Manny to chase on that slider earlier in the count. And through 2 of them, down and away, wasn't able to get him to chase. A lot of times it's tough to get a really good hitter like Manny Machado to chase a second time in the at-bat on that slider.
Madden full windup, and he can't locate the breakers, so Machado on with a walk, 2nd straight inning. The DR gets the leadoff man on. And we turn the page to last year's sensation for the Rays, Junior Caminero. The thought process is Ty Madden is going to start the year in the minor leagues with AAA Toledo, so this might be the best lineup he sees for a long time.
This is the best lineup anyone will see.
Caminero, one of the few not going after the first pitch.
Yeah, 45 home runs for the Rays last year for Junior. I mean, really came on strong. Talking with a lot of the Rays people early on in that season, were really excited about the year he was going to be able to put together.
Not expecting the fastball again, 0-2. 9th in MVP voting last year was Caminero. Trailed only Judge and Raleigh in the AL home run chase. And trying to work around the leadoff walk to Machado. And that's a nice piece the other way, and that one gets by Perez. He kept it close by. Manny turns and heads to 3rd. And the DR has runners at the corners with nobody out.
Yeah, breaking ball up in the zone right there, and Caminero just not trying to do too much with it. Hits it to right field. Stays on it really nicely. Perez actually, I thought for a second, was going to have a chance to catch this. Does a nice job of breaking in early. Luckily for him, though, he was able to get a glove on it, because if not, that would have been all the way to the wall.
Manny with a nice read, gets a great look at it. And like you said, if that ball gets by Perez,
oh, he's scoring.
It is trouble. So here comes Julio as the tying run. And Madden's starting to rediscover the breaking ball, strike 1.
Yeah, that's a good first pitch breaking ball right there. You got guys on base, Julio Rodriguez. Everyone's kind of been aggressive early. A little overexcited right there for Rodriguez, but nice job by Madden to drop that in there.
Another MVP finalist. Rodriguez ended up 6th last year. And after appearing in his first WBC in 2023, where he was 5 for 18 with a double and 3 RBIs, he feels like a veteran on this team at 25 years old. Machado at third, Caminero at first.
Much better take there on that pitch right there from Rodriguez. That first breaking ball of the at-bat, a little jumpy on that one right there. You could tell much more relaxed, much more calm. Saw it a little bit better.
They're stretching out Ty Madden pretty good tonight. And now he's in danger of walking them loaded. Good spot for Julio on 3-1. And he doesn't see anything that he likes. 2 walks and a single. And the DR has loaded them up with nobody out.
You can tell this team that they're taking their at-bats extremely seriously, you know, really trying to focus as far as like their preparation, because this is all about getting ready for this WBC team. You can see like the at-bats all these guys are taking right there. You know, there's intent to it, and they're not just giving these up, and you know, they feel the excitement from the fans and want to put a good showing.
Austin Wells checks it foul, and it could just be as simple, Alex, as the first inning you could see they were amped up. They're swinging out of their shoes. Albert might have just said to him, hey guys, let's pump the brakes a little bit. We're okay.
Well, I think all those guys they're kind of used to that environment. They're excited and stuff like that, but at the same time, you have to, you know, put yourself in that position as far as the intensity, because once you get into some of these games.
Wells into center, there's a base hit. Machado's in. And everybody stops as the DR gets on the board to make it 3-1.
Yeah, another breaking ball here by Madden. And Wells does a nice job of kind of staying with it off a little towards the end of the bat, which allows it to fall in, but a big RBI base hit for Wells.
Austin Wells, last year for the Yankees, 21 homers, 71 ribbies. Able to suit up for the Dominican Republic because his mother Michelle's parents were both born there. Escogidos being represented in Santo Domingo.
I was saying earlier, Greg, it's like this type of atmosphere, though, this is great practice for once this tournament starts. The biggest key for a lot of players is you're going to have a crazy environment. You're playing in a crazy environment. The adrenaline's going to be pumping. The nerves are going to be there. How do you slow it down to be able to perform? And, you know, this is what these are for, and that's what these guys are trying to accomplish.
I'm having a hard enough time here in the booth slowing down my heartbeat. Now, Geraldo Perdomo loves these spots. Last year with the bases loaded, 5 for 7 with 2 grand slams.
Well, we were talking about this lineup earlier, but you know, how about having Perdomo as your number 9 hitter? He's one of the best players in baseball.
Trying to pick out the 1-1. Problem for Madden, really, from the jump. Fastball just has not been able to spot.
Yeah, he's been behind in the count quite a bit over the first couple of innings here. Been trying to mix in that breaking ball. It's been a good mix of fastball, breaking ball, and his off speed. But just having a hard time of getting ahead of some of these hitters.
And we need to remember he didn't pitch at all last year. This one's grounded behind first. Torkelson, long throw to second, rifled to first, not in time. Great play by Torque. But Caminero scores to make it a 1-run game.
Yeah, this is a heads-up play here by Spencer. You know, down the line, kind of on his glove side, but his only play right here is to second, and they still almost end up turning the double play because a nice job by Madden to be able to get there. But that's a long throw for a first baseman, and that's all about your footwork for the first baseman to be able to make a good, strong, accurate throw there.
That does it for Ty Madden. The Tigers are going to the bullpen. We'll tell you who that is with runners at the corners when we come back.
lemon.
Do you guys make your own brisket here?
Yes, we do. We are known by our brisket.
Barbecue brisket sandwich. Quality is better than other places, and it looks good. We're ready to eat.
We go to an average 500 briskets per game. We hear a lot from our fans. They want to try something with wrap, easy to eat. So we say, well, let's do it like a brisket, wrap, and an egg roll.
That's beautiful. You get the gold medal for culinary brisketry here in Texas.
Yes.
How do you go from a triple play to a two-way star through a bracelet and the babe? Find out on Hall of Fame Connections.
This story starts way back in the early 20th century.
We have a couple things out here for the first acknowledged unassisted triple play. And Cy Young said, Neil, where are you going? He said, 3 outs.
Neil Ball had a fairly short career as a big leaguer, but continued playing in the minors, where he encountered true baseball royalty.
Now we're going to connect to Babe Ruth.
He dominated the game like no one else had before, both across the country and around the world.
I'm holding Babe Ruth's back.
During a 1934 baseball barnstorming tour of Japan, Ruth faced 17-year-old pitcher Eiji Sawamura. Sawamura became a hero in Japan, and the Nippon Professional Baseball League's version of the Cy Young Award bears his name. Maeda won the award in 2010 and again in 2015, when the runner-up was Shohei Ohtani.
First pitch crushing! Oh, man!
Like the Dillinger was pitching not too far from his Long Island house for the Long Island Ducks. So, you're now in the fire, kid. Best of luck.
Probably wouldn't have it any other way right now. But Seelinger, with the fastball, cutter, knuckle curve combination, actually had a pretty nice year last year between AA and AAA for the Tigers, for Toledo and AA Erie. Pitched to a 2.74 ERA.
John Lipka just not giving the low strike. You see the numbers there for Seelinger over 47 games between Erie and Toledo. That one just left his hand awkwardly. 3-0. Final line right now for Ty Madden. They stretched him out tonight. Wasn't sure how much he would work. Just 21 pitches in his first spring outing in the Grapefruit League. And another walk. Third one of the inning. And now they're loaded up again for Ketel Marte.
Yeah, not exactly what you want to see if you're A.J. Hinch right there. You bring in Seelinger to kind of fill up the zone a little bit, and he comes out 4-pitch walk. A little bit fighting, probably a little bit of nerves right there to get into the zone. It'll be Rogers' job to kind of calm him down. Bases loaded, 1 out. Hey, you're 1 pitch out of this inning, kid.
Marte grounded out to second his first time. That's 5 straight out of the zone for Seelinger, the 30-year-olds. After Ty Madden went an inning and a third, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 1 strikeout. Marte's got the bags full.
You could just see, Greg, like the intensity of that these guys are taking these at bats. Like they're making sure that they're want to do well for their home country fans, but at the same time, like they're trying to get ready to be able to slow the game down and put a good showing on for the WBC, because none of these guys are giving away any of these at bats.
So Seelinger's missed with all 7 pitches. Last year over 65 2/3, he walked 25. He's trying to get that first one over, and he does. And if you're going to miss with this zone, you got to miss up. As we saw it with Madden early on, the low strike was not there. The energy inside of Estadio Quisqueya Juan Marichal bleeding into the U.S. And now Marte with a fly to deep center. Clark running back, just shy of the track. He makes the catch. And that ties the score. Marte with a sac fly. And the DR comes back with 3 here in the second.
Yeah, really nice piece of hitting there by Marte. Gets a fastball up in the zone, stays to the big part of the field, hits the fly ball to center field. Max Clark did a nice job of running that one down. But that's a good piece of hitting right there. That's what you're trying to do in that situation with guy on third, bases loaded, less than 2 outs, trying to hit something hard up the middle of the field.
We always say walks kill you, and in this case, 2 have come around to score. 3 in the inning. Soto, 8th man up in the second. You remember Soto had the count 3-0 back in the first inning, and they turned him loose. Got jammed on a fly to right. And now it's Perdomo at third, Tatis at first. And the Dominican Republic on the doorstep of erasing a 3-0 deficit. So Torkelson over there anchoring first, keeping Tatis close by. Juan Soto joined Barry Bonds, Babe Ruth, and Ted Williams as the only 4 players in Major League history with 5 or more seasons of 125-plus walks and 25-plus home runs.
Is that
good? And let's not forget, he's only 27. And he still has a long ways to go on that Mets contract. Last year, year 1, was really good late in the year.
We played together in Washington my last season, getting to see him up close and personal. What he was capable of doing on a baseball field, especially in the batter's box, was extremely impressive. And I thought he was the best hitter that I had seen played with since Miguel Cabrera.
Let's go back to 2023. Here's Soto. Flair for the dramatic, going upper tank. And then his defense gets overshadowed, but he got the assist right there against Nicaragua. That'll be their opponent when they start the event on Friday night. And at the time when you were playing with him, he was what, 19 years old?
No, he was a little bit older.
A little older? Okay.
Yeah, but just his ability to be able to control the strike zone, hit for average, hit for power, get on base, just be the most complete offensive hitter that you could. It's video game kind of stuff.
And after all that, Seelinger strikes him out, so the kid escapes. But the Dominican Republic ties it up. We're all knotted at 3 as we go to the third.
We wanted to introduce something new. And then working in some of our past and what the past can look like in the future. I think our players absolutely love it, and our fans, we think they'll learn to love it, especially if you can win in it. That kind of solves everything.
Let's open this up. Take a look at what we find. Looks like we've got Lauren Shahadi.
Animation is great.
We got Robert Flores, one of the stars of MLB Central with Lauren Shahadi. Then we got Mark DeRosa. Look at that. He looks like Superman, does he not? Right?
He was when he was with the Cubs.
Harold Reynolds looking ripped in a tracksuit in Studio 42. There I am. The hair's all
I know this guy.
Look at that jawline.
Contreras is chewing on the tape. Yeah, why use a pocket when you could just eat it?
Who knew? Who knew boys of summer need a cup of hot soup bone broth? MIT, is that you?
That looks like the catcher's play all the way.
So Manny was going to make a double play, and in the way was the runner, Arias.
I think it went off his glove and over the wall, and it's a home run for Torrens, who was not sure. That was bizarre.
I want to ask you about food. What is something that you have to eat to be the judge?
Oh, Aaron Judge! Send him to Monument Park now!
We got some good chefs in New York. They've been cooking up some nice chopped cheeses, and that kind of, it gets you, I don't know if I should tell the kids that they should be eating chopped cheese before a game.
Before the game, probably steak. That's usually what I go to.
I like a steak, no vegetables.
No vegetables?
No vegetables.
No, is it straight protein?
Yeah.
going of this game, and we saw quite the improvement last year from Spencer Torkelson. You see the largest increase in home runs from 2024 to 2025. He was in some really good company.
Yeah, well, Spencer, had some struggles over the course of the 24 season. Pretty well documented. Just him, going through some swing changes, trying to get back to what really made him, a first-round pick, and he really found and came into his own a little bit in 2025 last year with those 31 home runs. But he's always had the power. It's just a matter of him being able to cut down on that swing and miss, and to find that pitch and to get that A swing off.
New pitcher for the Dominican Republic, lefty Gregory Soto. And this is inside on Torkelson, and I don't think his bounce back got enough attention last season, because you mentioned 2024 when he was optioned back to AAA in June, and short stint. He was there for more than 2 months.
Yeah, he was working on some things mechanically, but I think even more so, just regaining that confidence, getting that back, working on the mental side a little bit to really how to, take each at bat for what it is and find those positives in each at bat, regardless of what the results are. That's the toughest thing that all these major league hitters have to really learn how to do, is deal with that failure. Especially when you're a young kid like Torkelson that's expected to do, some great things, throughout your career. And he was able to do that, in 2024, kind of figure some of those things out. And last year did a nice job as far as being a middle of the order bat for this Tigers lineup.
Career high 240 average, 789 OPS over 155 games, and a 4-pitch walk to begin the night for Gregory Soto, one of the imports for a Pirates team that's expecting to raise their game and contend in the NL Central. Gregory getting 1 year for just under $8 million back in December.
Yeah, he's been a back end of the bullpen type of guy, former Tiger as well, former Tigers closer. Hard thrower from the left side. The one thing about this Dominican bullpen, a lot of guys, they can throw hard, but they could also give up the free pass.
This one's grounded through the right side. Colt Keith has his second base hit. And Torkelson hangs on right there. So the Tigers just jumping all over both Severino and Soto. And Colt Keith is 2 for 2.
Yeah, I think first pitch fastball right there. Colt Keith wanted to be aggressive to that heater to make sure he gets the bat head out in front and sneaks it through the right side.
You mentioned Soto, 2-time All-Star with the Tigers in 2021 and 2022. After coming up with them early in the 2019 season. I wonder how much new gear these guys got to properly accessorize the colors of the red, white, and blue.
Oh, I'm sure a lot of guys had, special gloves made, the cleats. You had, certain arm guards and batting gloves to go along with it. You're coming home with a pretty large bag worth of gear.
Here's Max, lined out softly to first to end the first inning. Taken all the way.
That's it. That's a good pitch right there by Soto with the slide step right there. Not only to keep runners at bay, but that slide step will throw the timing off of the hitter as well. And you saw Max Clark there just ended up kind of giving a statue take because of it.
Clark slightly opened up on the left side. Another good one from Soto to jump ahead.
Yeah, that's the pitch right there for Soto, that if he's able to land throughout his entire career, to be able to land that slider on occasion to kind of get hitters off of his big fastball, which he's very proud of, likes to use it as he should, because it's a good one. But when he's landing that slider, that's when he's very dangerous.
Max Clark's had a lot of success since the Tigers made him the first high school pick in a loaded 2023 draft. He was picked third behind Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens, and then behind him it was Wyatt Langford, Walker Jenkins, and Jacob Wilson.
That's a pretty good draft.
Whew. That one's hit hard to short. Perdomo gathers, goes to Marte, and it's like they've done it so many times. Good job by Guerrero to prevent that ball from getting by and keep Torkelson at third.
Nice glove work there by Guerrero, like you said, to keep that from going to the dugout. But what a swing here by Max Clark. Staying on that heater, hits a missile to Perdomo. And, the good glove of Perdomo ends up scooping that one up, but not an easy play right there. Clark running down the line hard. Made Marte have to rush the throw a little bit, but good job by Guerrero.
That's the star right there. Agility from Vladdy to find the bag and then dive down the line.
He's a much better athlete than a lot of people give him credit for.
Big swing by McKinstry. And reached on the error from Vladdy. Couldn't snag that line drive in the second. Runners at the corners. Tigers looking to take the lead back. So far, Soto's slider has been his best pitch.
Yeah, that's the pitch right there. He doesn't even really have to locate it that well. It's just a matter of getting it in the zone. Between his angles, I mean, that pitch is looking like it's coming 2 or 3 feet behind the left-handed hitter, and then, sweeping all the way across the plate.
That time he went with the fastball. McKinstry guides it foul. Zach McKinstry, a great story last year, made his first All-Star team and won a Silver Slugger as the utility man in the American League.
Got the opportunity to have a lot of at-bats, being that super utility guy for A.J. Hinch. I mean, that's one thing the Tigers value is versatility. They have a few guys that can play multiple positions.
And the fastball ties him up. Soto digs deep for out number 2.
Yeah, the previous sliders in this at-bat kind of sets this fastball up to get McKinstry a little bit late, a little tardy on that fastball running in under his hands.
With a guy like that, is it easy to just look and say, all right, slider's working, break away from lefties, fastball's got that run in? It makes it simple for you behind the plate, or no?
No, I mean, with a guy like Soto, where he's got some bouts of wildness, sometimes as a catcher, whether you're calling fastball or slider, you're just focusing middle and let the natural movement of the pitch kind of dictate what's going to happen. You can see there, Wells, on a lot of these pitches, he's set up right down the middle of the plate. And because part of Soto's effectiveness is his wildness. And, sometimes you don't want to take that away from him by trying to make him, be too fine on the corners. Hey, just focus on the middle. Let's your stuff eat in the middle of the plate.
Tyro Lorenzo singled and scored in the second. Here he is with 2 at the corners. Tigers already with 6 hits in this one. The breaking ball gets him out front, 0-2.
Yeah, you can see now he's trying, with guys on base, Wells is trying to, mixing in that off speed with that fastball, not trying to be too one-dimensional, keep these guys guessing.
Well, this time last year, MLB Pipeline had Lorenzo as their number 82 prospect. There were hopes he'd become the next Alex Avila. 1-2. And for Tyrone, this has to be fantastic because he is from the Dominican Republic by way of San Francisco de Macorís. Still only 22 years old. Trying to bounce back after a tough year at Double-A.
Yeah, some of these young guys, Greg, that were, born and raised in the Dominican and obviously playing in the States now, have never really had a chance, to play in front of some of their family and friends as a professional player. And, so for a guy like Lorenzo, it's a big deal, the fact that he's able to be able to do this in front of some family and friends. And they get to see him in a Tigers uniform, probably for the first time.
Originally signed as a free agent by the Dodgers 5 years ago when he was still just 17. Worked his way back, 2-2, and that one gets him. And Soto's feeling it. Works around the walk and the single and keeps this game tied at 3.
Well, we certainly served it up over the plate. This is a burger fit for a home run king, the 99 burger in honor of Aaron Judge. They sell a bazillion of these at Yankee Stadium. It looks pretty good. I feel like we passed the test. What about you?
I think so. Deep center. Edmonds going back. The ball is going long. 3-run home run. Bowman shot. The Jays on the board first. In one swing, Bobershett makes it 3-0 and chases Shohei Ohtani from Game 7. Breaking ball, and he was all over.
The captain, Derek Sanderson Jeter, is one of the winningest players in Major League history. He was wearing these very batting gloves when he notched one of those most memorable hits the 3,000th of his career.
Are we supposed to spit in them like they do the batting gloves?
No spitting. This is a non-spitting museum.
He's just the second player in history whose 3,000th hit was a home run. The first was a former teammate from the Yankees' 1996 World Series championship team. But before he began his Cooperstown-bound career, Boggs would cross paths with another future Hall of Famer. September 6, 1995, the Iron Man played his 2,000th 131st consecutive game, surpassing the unbreakable record of the Iron Horse.
Now that's how you pass the torch. Go to baseballhall.org to plan your visit to the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown, New York, and catch every episode of Hall of Fame Connections on MLB.tv.
It's a five-man umpiring crew here today, and this young superstar is in the stands.
And did their feet get tangled up? Yes, so Hoppy tripped, or he might have caught that ball. Down.
There's a fastball, and there's a flying bat. It's a high card.
And that ball is off the ladder. It's actually off the ladder. You never see that.
Haggerty is on with an infield hit. A little tumble behind the mound. Hat fell off. That was awesome. I mean, you just don't see that.
Quisqueya, Juan Marichal, and Santo Domingo. The capital is ready, and so are we. Bottom three, Tigers and the Dominican Republic tie 3-3. And it appears that we are going totally rogue in this game. We're playing showcase rules. Ty Madden is back in the game after Matt Seelinger came in to get the last out in the second. So Ty Madden's final line is going to be all sorts of screwed up, but what it tells us is that maybe he's ticketed for the starting rotation in AAA.
Well, I mean, they're definitely stretching him out. He is a starting pitcher, but you're going to think twice now when you put the final line on whatever pitcher comes out of this ball game.
Make sure you're writing pencil. Of course, I've got pens all over the place. So Seelinger struck out Soto, and now Guerrero, who struck out to end the first, keeps it even 2-2.
This is just something that teams can do over the course of spring training, and obviously in this exhibition game, Seelinger came in to kind of finish the inning for Madden, but Madden's allowed to come back and start the following inning to try to get some length, get that work in. This is all kind of per spring training rules. That way that pitchers can get their work in, but teams don't feel the need to let someone be out there and kind of worry.
Last time Ty Madden took a mound in a real game was the 2024 wild card in Cleveland. That was October 5th. The series that the Guardians won, and then the Tigers returned the favor last year. Another 2-2 to Vladdy. Might have broken his bat, and Madden takes care of it on his own. And I'm wondering if that's ever happened to him before, where he's been taken out of a game and told, sit tight, you're going right back down.
It's probably the first time, but yeah, like you said, I mean, I'm sure when he came out of the game, that was the conversation with AJ as far as hey, just sit tight. You're going to go back into the game for that third inning.
There's Manny, who started that third inning with a walk. Rounds this one to the left side. Keith recovers after stumbling and throws out his counterpart. One pitch, one away.
And Manny going after the first pitch here, grounding to third. Keith does a nice job keeping his feet underneath him. We did see there was some rain a little bit early on. We've seen a couple of guys slip on the field. So a little slick out there.
I think it was McKinstry who had the little whoopsie-daisy going around second. Here's Junior Caminero. Line drive scorched, and by McKinstry into center. So Junior Caminero's 2 for 2 with a pair of singles. And he's jacked up.
Yeah, this ball was rocketed up the middle. I mean, no chance. Really, McKinstry just had the only way to be able to try to knock that ball down, but I mean, it was by him before he even reacted.
I think he found the camera, too. He knew exactly where to look. Junior Caminero, built for television.
Well, he did hit that game-winning home run for Albert Pujols in the Escogido in winter ball a couple years ago that, it took him about 5 minutes to round the bases.
Not that anybody was timing or anything. Here's Julio Rodriguez hoping for a faster first half. He's been prone to some slow starts the last couple of years. But boy, when he gets going, he can carry the Mariners.
That's a good point, Greg. That's something that players do think about. They know, like, if they have had slow starts either, early on in the season or, something if they can't tend to finish a season off or like kind of taper off towards the season, that's something going into the following year you're always kind of conscious of and trying to make better. But you can see him, he's got power at all fields, and he's able to take the pitch, take the ball wherever it's pitched, and whether it's in, middle, away, he can take it left, center, right, and just has the ability to be a very dynamic offensive player.
He is an equal opportunity slugger. 17 of those home runs going to the left side. And his third All-Star team last year. And one of the first faces you see when you get into the Seattle-Tacoma airport, his face is on a billboard for Alaska Airlines. So whenever you get into Seattle, first person you see is Julio Rodriguez. He's the mayor. 2-2. Looked like he overcooked it. What's encouraging, despite the results, and he's looked okay, is that Ty Madden feels strong enough to get out there and give them more than 50 pitches tonight.
Yeah, I think he's definitely stretching out because he is going to be one of the starters in Toledo and adds depth to this starting rotation for the Tigers.
Runner on the move, another walk. So that's 4 of them now, given out by Tigers pitching.
And I think for Ty Madden, the work this spring, really is to show that he's, wants to be one of the guys called upon once if there's ever a need or somebody needs a blow or there's an injury to that rotation.
Brent Herter is coming in. We'll get a look at the lefty when we come back.
Thought they were cooling off on the sidelines? Well, they're just getting warmed up.
Surprise, DirecTV got hot. Hey, I played in high school.
Really?
Well, I went to high school. I didn't go to high school.
Oppo Taco.
I'm gonna guess it's an opposite field, upper deck, maybe something like a...
Yeah, home run to the opposite field. You got it.
This is a good one, a hack.
I don't know. I mean, is it the same as like the layman's term hack, like a bad chef?
You've guessed correctly.
Okay.
Someone's a hack, someone that's just nailing it in.
Yeah.
They're not putting their heart into it.
Crochet goes down awkwardly on the mound.
He caught the ball in the hat. So whose ball is it? It's a good question. I'm going to have to ask that lady from Philly.
Meanwhile, out the Cove, it's going to sort of check and see what the score is.
I saw Rizzo jersey trying to make the play on it. Did it be? Oh, Rizzo, no, he hadn't. He literally hit it right to him.
Wow, that's why I'm retired, is what he just said.
If you were to find a jersey or if you swap a jersey with one of the players on the National League, who would it be? Who would you pick?
Okay, so I got an Ohtani jersey last year, so
Nice.
I'm gonna probably say Harper.
Maybe Judge. He's one of the greatest to play the game in the last 5, 6, 7 years, so it'd be cool to have his jersey. Ellie's been fun to watch. Yeah, Ellie'd be a cool one. I mean, his jersey would probably be too big for me. It'd probably go down to my knees.
We've run into all kinds of weather so far this year, and this is the first time we've run into a...
Penn last year, 4-3, 2.43 ERA and 43 appearances. He deals with Austin Wells. And a first pitch strike with Caminero at second, Rodriguez at first. So we saw Ty Madden not once but twice. Matt Seelinger prior to that. And now Herter trying to send this one to the fourth.
Yeah, Greg Herter has has a nasty, nasty sinker. I mean, he is a ground ball specialist out of A.J. Hinch's bullpen right here. Goes with that sinker-sweeper combination.
Wells has seen him before in the regular season, 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Staring at an 0-2 count here. Austin, an RBI single to score the first DR run in the second.
Yeah, a lot of time Herder's game plan against lefties. He tries to throw that sinker in. Every once in a while throws it away to try to get a caught looking and then the sweeper away.
And he blows the fastball by him. He comes in and makes a grand entrance. Strikes out Wells on 3 and keeps this game tied at 3.
Here's Schwarber. Schwarber grounded out his first time up. That ball's crushed deep to right field. Hernandez doesn't even move. It is long gone. It's off the roof of the pavilion in right field. Kyle Schwarber, his first postseason home run of the year. It's his 22nd of his career. And with a lightning strike, the Phillies tie it up at 1.
Well, I would say Kyle's second time through, I like the approach.
Wow. Well, the first home run for the Phils this postseason.
The biggest thing we're bringing is a brand new Tony Gwynn drop I did with his estate. So we just signed a deal at therealist.com to actually go through his entire archives, present them, and auction them off. And to announce it, we did this limited edition 1994 The Lost Season card. Because, you know, between August of 93 and May of 95, Tony Gwynn batted .406 in 162 games. So in the back, we have the stats of what could have been.
I'm helping these kids be the best versions of themselves. I'm also representing like where I came from. And in the Zilla team, I was working with a creative guy that was with Nike. I work with my best friend who manages this team with me. And we kind of just like put together like what we think would look cool. We went like Godzilla theme. You kind of get to help them grow up into a young man and help them just make the right steps forward. And that's really why I started to have impact.
An easy one again for Olerud, or is it going to be? Oh, it's going to be neither.
Fly on the infield. Alicea coming in, and a collision, and the ball drops.
Popped up. Ordonez, Alfonso. Oh!
They both look at each other, and it bounces free.
Shallow center. Chico.
Oh!
Dropped the ball. Oh! And it drops it a couple of times.
Burrow doesn't see it. He doesn't see it.
Is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Gone, but not forgotten. Long-time Major League reliever Octavio Dotel, as we talked about earlier. Alex, one of your teammates, a guy that you spent a little time with, but certainly made an impact.
Yeah, absolutely. We were teammates in 2012 and 2013. In Detroit, and in 2012 was really one of the key pieces in our bullpen that year, and we actually had a three-headed Dominican monster, I'd like to call him, between Dotel, Joaquin Benoit, and Jose Valverde, with the three of them in the back end of the bullpen. But Dotel was huge for us. Was extremely well liked, a great teammate. Everybody loved him. One of those guys that just kind of kept the clubhouse loose all the time. And I was still a very young catcher, with when he was on our team, and a lot of valuable lessons that I learned from him just from my experience with him. One, it sticks out in my head even to this day. Like there was a game in Pittsburgh, and he's in pitching, and there's the bases loaded with 1 out, right? In a situation where it's tough to get out of that jam, right, without giving up any sort of damage, and I remember going out to the mound and talking to him, just trying to get an idea of what he wanted to do, how he wanted to attack. He's like, and he just basically laid out the plan how we're going to do it. We ended up getting back-to-back strikeouts. The last one on Neil Walker on a curveball, which he rarely ever threw.
Goodbye, Jake Rogers. There's out number 1 for Dennis Santana.
But it was just one of those things where it taught me a lesson as a young catcher, like, hey, no matter the situation, you're just one pitch out of that inning. You just have to, kind of trust in your stuff.
It sounds like those three guys looked out for you, but of those three, who teased you the most as a young guy?
I'd probably have to say Valverde did.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. He was kind of like the jokester in the clubhouse, but there was definitely a shocking day learning of his death and the tragedy of that nightclub roof collapse.
Last April, the Jet Set nightclub, 236 fatalities, over 180 injuries. Not only Octavio Dotel, but Tony Blanco and Nelsie Cruz, the sister of Nelson, who is the general manager and the architect of this Dominican Republic team. So I'm sure he's feeling a lot of emotions tonight as well. And here's my prediction. I think that by the end of this week, there are going to be a lot of fans in the Dominican Republic who are now fans of Kevin McGonigal.
Yeah, he's showing that this atmosphere, he is not intimidated by it whatsoever, and he's ready for it.
He's driven in all three Tigers runs. There's that discernible eye that we've talked about. So he got the party started. Solo shot on the very first pitch from Severino back in the first, and then a 2 RBI single in the second, which made it 3-zip. DR then tied it with 3 in the home half of the second. And there's a walk. McGonigal's on for the third time tonight.
Yeah, let's take a look at Kevin McGonigal's night so far. The home run here off of Luis Severino on the first pitch of the game. Just kind of getting the Tigers out in front, getting the bat head out in front. And then the RBI base hit on a fastball up in the zone again. Doing a fantastic job so far in this game of putting together some quality at-bats for this Tigers team.
No slouch at the plate here. That's Riley Green, who's 0 for 2. Riley has made back-to-back All-Star teams. Came into the year ranked number 4 on our MLB Network top 10 left fielders list. Still only 25 years old.
Yeah,
And that ball gets away on the pickoff attempt. It goes all the way down the line, and McGonigal with his wheels is going to third. So I don't know if Vladdy got surprised or if Santana just didn't make a good throw. But Kevin McGonigal's been in the midst of everything tonight for Detroit.
Yeah, taking a look at this again, I think really it was just kind of a throw that was wide from Santana. Nowhere near close for Vladdy to be able to try to get a glove on it. It was just a wide throw on Santana's part, trying to be too quick on the pickoff.
Albert Pujols brings the infield in with McGonigal at third and 1 out. Just the second walk tonight for the Tigers, but it might give them the lead once again.
Yeah, in this situation right here, Pujols is bringing the infield in with 1 out, trying to cut that runner off to be able to either keep them there or to throw them out at home plate if they end up having the contact play going.
I remember seeing an interview with Riley Green not too long ago where he spoke about really focusing this offseason on changing the idea of his approach. There were points last year where he admitted that he felt he could get to everything. He was going after everything. Now he said he's trying to be a little bit more selective. The strikeouts last year, really the only knock, second most in baseball behind only James Wood.
Yeah, I think that's something that it's great that he's able to kind of understand that and kind of see that as a young player. 25, still very mature approach, very mature player. And that's something he wants to cut down on those strikeouts. But I understand that sometimes you're going so well, you think you can hit everything, and you end up swinging at a lot of pitches outside the zone that are not necessarily the pitches that you can drive, but you just feel so good at the plate at times that you're able to get to those. But
now, does the opposite happen where you're going bad and now you're laying off pitches that you would normally go after?
Exactly. Sometimes when you're struggling, you're afraid to make a mistake, and you end up being too passive.
Good take right there. Spits on the 1-2.
Yeah, I think for him, though, like what he's trying to do is, you can see right there, 201 strikeouts last year. That's a lot.
Most of the Tigers' history.
But the production he provides, even striking out that much, he is an incredible player. And it's just at 25 years old, you have to remind yourself a little bit too. He is 25 and already a multi-all-star, and one of the better players in this game.
And also healthy. His first 2 years were affected by injury. Tommy John surgery on his non-throwing elbow and a fractured foot. This one hit out to center. Julio back to his left, and he hangs on. McGonigal tags. And that's an RBI for Riley Green to give Detroit the lead.
No, that was an excellent at-bat there by Riley. You have a guy on third base with less than 2 outs. Santana really pitching him tough throughout that at-bat with a mix of fastballs and breaking balls and off speed to try to either, get him to swing at a pitch that he wants to get the strikeout, not being too careful, and Riley doing a good job of getting that ball out in the outfield to get the run across.
Well, Dennis Santana started the inning, but he's not going to finish it. DR going to the pen. We'll tell you who that is when we come back.
Homered in the first, his third leadoff home run in the postseason. Oh my goodness! Shohei Ohtani! Wow! Up and over the roof! A majestic blast! Ohtani dropped jaws everywhere, and it's 4-0 Dodgers.
117 off the bat, 469 feet. He is the first Dodger to ever have 2 multi-home run games in the same postseason.
The beauty of this jersey is the field texture, the thin, the stitching is heavy, so you kind of feel that jersey that was very heavy. Check it out, the last name and the number, they have a little glitter on them, so they kind of stack up. It just feels right. I had some really cool cleats to go with it. The way it gets dirty when you slide, it just kind of like rubs off on that glitter. It's really, really cool.
As someone who grew up in the era of the twist, the locomotion, the Freddy, and other outrageous dances, the floss is easily the worst of all time.
The fan did touch that ball, and that's a big whoops. Any relation to Grant? I don't know. That guy was having a hard time figuring out what screen he was supposed to be looking at.
What a play! Allen Roden. And hopefully he is all right.
Look at it's his eye black. That's his eye black. It has been transferred from face to wall.
If you want a Cy Young, 73, 5, and 6, I've got an extra 5. And then it says, has worked as a TV commentator. And I did start back in 1978. I did the Yankees and the Red Sox playing the one-game playoff. And ABC said if the Yankees win, Reggie will play, and then you'll go broadcast with Howard Cosell and Keith Jackson, and that's how I started.
Right, Dominguez just joined the White Sox on a 2-year deal in January. After splitting last season in the AL East between Baltimore and Toronto, had a really nice year, 3.16 ERA over 67 appearances. And helped the Blue Jays down the stretch on their way to the AL pennant.
Yeah, it really was a big key. A big piece in that bullpen for the Blue Jays down the stretch.
Sir Anthony out of Esperanza. Cracked foul by Perez, who's 1 for 2 thus far. And that's one thing that Sir Anthony Dominguez has done, even going back to his time when he came up with the Phillies. He has always been a lockdown pitcher in the postseason. 29 career playoff appearances, a 1.86 ERA. During the regular season, his ERA sits at an even 3.5. Calling his minor league games a few years ago, you could just tell that the stuff was there, that AA hitters had no chance. And he's parlayed it into a nice career.
Yeah, he really had, when he first came up, it was all about, his little bit wild, his ability to be able to fill up the zone, and over the last several seasons really has honed in his mechanics to be very consistent with his release point, to be able to stay in the zone and get the swings and misses after getting ahead of hitters.
Got a nice look at Wencel Perez, and on 1-2 he's got no chance. That thing faded away, and Dominguez ends the inning with a strikeout, but the Tigers are back on top.
All right, so guys,
I'm gonna go check out Food Truck Row. So What did you guys get today?
Philly cheesesteaks.
Both of you got the same thing. Are they that good?
Oh, yeah.
Got a hot dog and some fries.
Just kind of
All
basic
staples.
ballpark.
Chicken bacon sandwich.
Uh-huh.
Philly cheesesteak.
Okay.
And some...
Crinkle cut fries.
Okay, where are you guys from?
We're from Dallas.
Dallas. That's what's fun about baseball. It brings different regions together, not just the ball and glove and bat, but what we're eating.
How does one of baseball's most celebrated plays connect to one of baseball's most notorious curses? Through a cross-country move, an earthquake, and the Men of Steel? Find out on Hall of Fame Connections.
It was a defensive play so iconic that we simply call it the catch.
This is the glove Willie Mays had when he made that catch. This is great.
But let me touch it for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oakland pitcher Dave Stewart was named the World Series MVP.
It really comes from like the kings of Siam would give their courtiers white elephants, which were sacred animals, and they'd be too expensive again to maintain, would put them into financial ruin.
They need to know this story. That's amazing.
Nobody could steal a base like Ricky.
I'm the greatest of all time. Thank you.
So imagine making steals in these, though.
So these are Tie Cubs.
And these are Tie Cubs.
So what I want to know is, were they ever swabbed for the DNA of opposing pitchers?
Roberts is no stranger to stolen bases himself.
That's what makes it special, is that everybody knew he was going to steal.
Roberts is going. Safe.
You know what they say? One great play deserves another.
Catch every episode of Hall of Fame Connections on MLB.tv and discover your own connections to the game at baseballhall.org.
Continued tomorrow. Tune in at 2 p.m. Eastern for a rematch of these teams when the Tigers square off against the loaded DR team once again. That's tomorrow at 2 Eastern, right here on MLB Network. Back with Alex Avila, I'm Greg Caserta. Our entire crew is so happy to be with you as we turn the page to the bottom of the fourth, and 9-1-2 here for the Dominican Republic, starting with the switch hitter Geraldo Perdomo. Domo, a fielder's choice RBI in that 3-run second for the Dominican Republic. And then in the top of this inning, the sac fly from Riley Green. And it's 4-3 Detroit. Tatis and Marte to follow. So no changes in the lineup. And that's something, too, I think we touched on it earlier, Alex, is that you're getting the full Dominican Republic squad here, whereas the Tigers, you're seeing a few more minor league guys, especially on the pitching side.
Yeah, well, there's some games still going on back in Lakeland for the Tigers as well, so kind of a split squad situation. But, you know, with a lot of their major league players, you know, making the trip as well, a lot of minor league guys coming over to make this trip to help out.
Perdomo on the ground, right side, past the diving McKinstry. It's a leadoff base hit here in the fourth.
And a lot of those guys are going to get an opportunity to play in a great atmosphere against a very good team, with this Dominican team trying to get ready for the WBC. But Grant Herter right here gets the ground ball like he typically does, but perfectly placed, nice piece of hitting right there by Perdomo to stay with that off-speed pitch and drive it the other way.
What's funny is we figured that the Dominican Republic would bring all the firepower, but 5 singles. All their hits have just gotten through. That's Perdomo's first, and now Nando trying to change that deep to left field and off the base of the wall. Green's got to get it in. Perdomo got a great jump. He's on his way in. Tie ball game.
A little foreshadowing on your part there, Greg. I mean, you're talking about the firepower that this Dominican team can provide, and Nando kind of jumping on that first pitch off speed over the plate and doing a really nice job of getting the bat head out over the plate, just off the wall. He maybe thought he had it, but like you said, Perdomo with a great jump, knowing that ball was going to be burning Riley Green in left, gets a great jump and ends up scoring all the way from first base on that double off the wall.
That ball was hit so hard it couldn't go higher. And what a read from Perdomo at first. He scores no problem. And now with a runner on the move. Actually, Tatis just bluffing at second. But that got his attention. As he get a look at Herter after surrendering the game-tying double. So Nando's been on all 3 times, an RBI double, a walk, and a single.
Now Herter's got to be careful right here. 2-0 to Marte. Marte hitting from the right side. This is his power side. He's got a lot more power from the right side than he does the left side.
Many people standing inside of Estadio Quisqueya. We got Soto, the lefty, on deck. And then the murderer's row of righties. Not really sure what they're expecting out of Brant Herter tonight in terms of pitch count. Maybe they go to the bullpen once you get past Soto in the on-deck circle. 2-1. Marte leaning a bit.
Yeah, nice job by Herter there to get back into the count after 2-0. Throws him a really good sinker to get the foul ball just off the barrel of the plate of the bat there, and then a good cutting slider right there, kind of in on his hands to get back into that count.
A little lean right there from Marte. They tied the game with a sac fly back in the second. Now a chance to score Fernando and give the Dominican Republic their first lead. 3-2. Lined into center, but right at Clark. And now he's going to test the arm, and Fernando steals it. That's beautifully done. Great tag, and I don't think Clark was expecting it.
Well, this is just heads-up base running by Nando. I mean, the ball is hit on a line from Marte, but knowing that it's going to be backing up, Clark actually does a nice job, plays it the right way, but on a line drive like that, straight to center field, Nando, knowing it's going to be backing him up, figures that if he gets back to second quick enough, he could use his speed to get to third.
I could watch that base running display on a loop. That was brilliant. Start to finish. Soto with a big cut for strike one. Plenty of options here for Soto. Tigers with the infield in. So far tonight, Juan has struck out and flat out to right. Clark peering in from center. McGonigal, the other top prospect, up the middle at short. And the 0-1 is drilled to right. Back on it, Perez looking up, and it's out of here. I think the party started.
Well, I mean, Herter right here tries to get a sinker in on Soto. Soto was kind of all over. Gets that bat head out, kind of in that nitro zone, down and into a lefty right there, and absolutely destroys this baseball. But how about the energy in that crowd after this home run? You know, taking his time around the bases, soaking it in. The place was going nuts. You kind of foreshadowed at the beginning, you know, five singles for this Dominican team. Where was the power? Where it's definitely showed up in this inning.
431 feet on the Soto smash. And the Dominican Republic's taken over in the capital. The loud double from Tatis to tie it. And now the go-ahead 2-run shot. And it looks like they've shuffled the order here because it should be Vladdy up next. But it's Manny Machado. Oh, we missed Vladdy lining out quickly to center. So Manny at the plate. Again, we saw some trickery with the pitching alignment. I thought it was very possible that they were switching spots in the order. So Guerrero, amazingly, the cleanup hitter 0 for 3, but his team has a 6-4 lead. And he's walked and scored. Last time up, he grounded out to third.
You know what it is, Greg? We were admiring the home run and the celebration so much that we completely missed the at bat.
I mean, I was soaking it all up, and now Machado unloads deep left field. Manny has left the building. those of you wondering what the Dominican Winter League is like, sometimes it's like this.
Man, that's just a picture-perfect swing from the right side. Manny Machado, one of the most beautiful swings you'll see from the right side. Gets a breaking ball up in the zone, kind of sitting on that pitch, gets under it, and just a moonshot to left center field. And like you said, Greg, I mean, that place is rocking. I mean, this is like their World Series right now.
And now Junior Caminero to right field. Caminero, yes, sir!
Look, if there's something that'll get you fired up, it's the atmosphere at this place right now. And these guys are really feeding off the energy of this crowd. And it just shows you how much baseball means to this country. But Caminero takes a fastball to the opposite field. He's got power to all fields, no doubt. Brain Herter doesn't give up a lot of home runs throwing that sinker, but in this scenario has left the ball up, and the Dominican team has made him pay.
Alex, he had given up 8 home runs as a big leaguer over parts of 2 seasons. He's been chased from the game by giving up 3 in this inning. Soto, and then Machado and Caminero back to back. The Dominican Republic has arrived in the 4th. Tigers go to the bullpen. We're back for some more chaos after the break.
Well, this is the most famous jersey in baseball, right? The Yankee pinstripes, the interlocking NY, and the Midnight Navy. I was a Yankee fan growing up my whole life, diehard, and became a free agent after 7 years with the Rockies, and I wanted to be a Yankee so bad. Putting this jersey on for a headshot for the first time, it felt different than any other shirt I'd ever put on in my career.
Bo being chased by something. Bo Jackson's not afraid of a pack of gorillas. And a little bee just chased him out of the batter's box. He's gone, Bo. 3-0 to Bo. He's hacking. Oh, my way, God! Lord, he just killed it.
The name of the business is Legacy Catering. We all were talking about how Mom taught us all how to cook. She was a cook at the public school system for ages. So we all started cooking with her, so we decided, to do the business, so we went to figure out what we're gonna call it. So we said, let's cook in honor of, our mother, so that's when Legacy came in. And just remember that Legacy Catering is about people, and this is what barbecue.
Brennan Hanafy is the new pitcher for the Tigers. He started Julio Rodriguez with strike 1, trying to calm this crowd down, and if he makes this play, he will. Hanafy, nice play to get Rodriguez and close out a frantic bottom of the 4th. The DR started teeing off 3 home runs and an 8-4 lead.
How do you go from a triple play to a 2-way star through a bracelet and the babe? Find out on Hall of Fame Connections.
This story starts way back in the early 20th century.
We have a couple things out here for the first acknowledged unassisted triple play. And Cy Young said, Neil, where you go? And he said, 3 outs.
Neil Ball had a fairly short career as a big leaguer, but continued playing in the minors, where he encountered true baseball royalty.
Now we're going to connect to Babe Ruth.
He dominated the game like no one else had before, both across the country and around the world.
I'm holding Babe Ruth's back.
During a 1934 baseball barnstorming tour of Japan, Ruth faced 17-year-old pitcher Eiji Sawamura. Sawamura became a hero in Japan, and the Nippon Professional Baseball League's version of the Cy Young Award bears his name. Maeda won the award in 2010 and again in 2015, when the runner-up was Shohei Ohtani.
First pitch crushing! Oh, man!
Like the 3 outs of a triple play. It all connects. Catch every episode of Hall of Fame Connections on MLB.tv and discover your own connections to the game at baseballhall.org.
Well, this is a World Series card. Everybody said, you know, what's it going to be to pitch against Sandy Koufax, who's a dominant pitcher? I said, I hope I don't embarrass myself. And I didn't. You know, pitched my first shutout ever. We won 6-0, and my parents were there. My mom was afraid of heights, so she was in the upper deck. She had to come down and trade seats with somebody so that she could actually watch her 20-year-old son pitch a shutout in the World Series.
Dominican Republic, Juan Soto. 2 batters later, Manny Machado. And then Junior Caminero going back-to-back. They send 8 to the plate and come away with 5 runs on 5 hits. The Dominican Republic has taken over. And now Carlos Estevez is the new pitcher on for the top of the 5th, working with a 4-run lead.
Yeah, how about the energy? I mean, that's just, I'm already exhausted. And we're in the 5th inning.
Well, we're halfway home tonight. We got one more tomorrow. I'll tell you what, if you could procure some Cuban coffees for us in the morning, I will buy. Here's Estevez after Sir Anthony Dominguez got the final out in the 4th. Carlos has quite the arsenal. He saw a spinner right there to Torkelson for strike 2.
And he's really come on as one of the better closers in the game, too. Having a couple of really nice years. I did want to touch a little bit on that energy. That's something that I think, you know, over the course of this tournament, the WBC, whoa, watch out there. That one getting away from Carlos. Just kind of slips out of his hand. Luckily a little bit over the head of Torkelson. But the energy that this team is going to bring, right? I think that's something that a lot of other teams are going to have to try to match too, because it can overwhelm you. And
Torkelson, nice piece into left field, falling in front of Soto. And it's a leadoff base hit for Torkelson, who's on board for the 2nd time.
Yeah, sometimes it could just kind of overwhelm you as an opposing team, and you end up getting caught up into it. So you have to be able to match them. But Spencer right here does a nice job on one of Carlos's breaking balls, getting it up and out over the plate and hitting a solid base hit to left field.
Which is why a week from tomorrow, it's going to be appointment viewing. The Dominican Republic and Venezuela. Bring your noisemakers. And Colt Keith having a nice night. Swings through strike 1. From last year's saves leader, Carlos Estevez, 42 of them a year ago. First year as a Royal. Was the 2nd Royal to lead the league in saves. Dan Quisenberry did it back in 1983. He's done it on a lot of stages. This one's grounded to second. Taylor made. There's the combo from the Diamondbacks. And they roll it 4-6-3. Marte and Perdomo up the middle.
Yeah, change up right here by Estevez. Gets Colt Keith out in front. But a really nice turn there by Marte and Perdomo to complete the double play.
You go back to last year's All-Star game. Estevez struck out Kyle Stowers, his teammate Fernando Tatis Jr., and Matt Olson in the 7th inning in the All-Star game. So he is built for nights like this. Vladdy trying to find his way. Finally got his GPS working. Strike 1 on Max Clark. Clark reached on a fielder's choice in the 3rd, lined out to end the 1st. A game that the Tigers led 3-0 after the top of the 2nd.
Yeah, Estevez really kind of working his off-speed pitches in this inning. A lot of sliders and changeups. Kind of trying to use the aggressiveness of some of these Tigers hitters against them. He's done a nice job keeping the guys off balance for the most part.
And I think this could be the separator for the Dominican Republic, is the depth of their bullpen. Just with the names that they've trotted out tonight, Soto, Santana, and Dominguez, now Estevez, and you still have a few bullets in the chamber, like Abner Uribe and Albert Abreu. I mean, they have so many weapons at their disposal.
Well, we've seen this, this game really turn into a game of bullpens. A lot of times throughout a major league season, it's the same thing in the WBC because, your starting pitchers are going to have some limitations on them. So you're going to want to have a strong bullpen to be able to get outs late in the game.
Clark serves it into left. Soto coming on. The shortstop Perdomo gets out there first and ends the inning. And there it is. Everybody's frozen. And we're halfway home with the DR on top, 8-4.
I am an American.
How do you go from a wonder of the ancient world to the modern?
During the offseason of 1888 to 1889, Spalding took a group of big leaguers on the first worldwide barnstorming tour.
At first, it was only supposed to be to Australia, but on his way there, he's like, no, why stop there?
This is Spalding.
Yes,
you look at the Spalding, you're like, wait a second, now this is the backstory. Okay, this
Correct.
is great.
Stops included New Zealand, Italy, France, England, and even Egypt, where they played in front of the pyramids.
Did they water the field or
They
something?
did not. You hit a ground ball and it just goes.
Right, exactly.
And the ball-playing tourists posed for this photo with the Great Sphinx.
How much does a ticket on the Sphinx cost?
Too much, too much.
Spalding's contributions to baseball history don't end there.
Do you know the story of Doubleday and the invention of baseball?
Please
tell us.
Enlighten us.
When a 71-year-old mining engineer and Cooperstown native came forward, claiming that he watched a future Union general, Abner Doubleday, invent baseball in central New York State in 1839, baseball officially had a birthplace in Cooperstown.
If I'm in the presence of this baseball right here, does it give you powers to become a better baseball player?
And whether it's the World Series or the wonders of the ancient world, there's no debating that baseball connects us all.
Catch every episode of Hall of Fame Connections on MLB.tv and discover your own connections to the game at baseballhall.org.
Dominican Republic is going to ship up to Miami for Pool D. And this is what it looks like. It starts Friday night against Nicaragua, and then Sunday, they get the day off in the middle of the weekend there against the Netherlands team that knocked them out of the 2009 WBC. Israel, and then Venezuela. That's the big matchup next Wednesday. As we get a little bit closer, the first real game of the World Baseball Classic gets underway in Tokyo tomorrow night. Steven Nelson and Jose Mota will have the call. There's Austin Wells. RBI single in the second, a strikeout victim his last time. Go back to last year, or the last tournament in 2023, the Dominican Republic lost their first game against Venezuela. They then beat Nicaragua 6-1, and then 10-run ruled Israel. Then they lost that final game to Puerto Rico, which was most remembered for Edwin Diaz tearing his patellar tendon while celebrating after he struck out the side in the ninth.
Yeah, that's kind of like worst nightmare for every team is one of your guys getting hurt in this tournament. So, a little bit of give and take as far as and a little risk reward. If you're a player playing in this tournament, but. I mean, you can obviously see like the amount of passion and the excitement that all these guys get from playing in this. It's become something now. It means something to these guys now.
And a good spot right there. 96 from Hannafy to put down Wells. So Wells down on strikes his second time. Get a look at the heat here from Brendan Hannafy. That's right in his kitchen.
Yeah, it was a good fastball, kind of up and in. Just above the bat of Austin Wells there. Not quite able to get on top of that one. Perfectly located pitch by Hannafy.
You touched on it before. It's really nice when you have Geraldo Perdomo in the 9 spot. He's got an RBI fielder's choice and a single and a run.
Well, I mean, he really came on and broke out for the Diamondbacks last year from the offensive perspective.
He was their best player.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the glove has always been there. That was something I think coming up for Perdomo. Like, you know, you knew he was going to be really good defensively. It was what kind of bat were you going to get? And he really showed like he's a difference-making kind of offensive player. Just the combination of a good eye at the plate, contact, with some pop in there, has turned himself into really a dynamic, complete player.
You want to talk about all-star snubs? Geraldo Perdomo might be the biggest one of them all from a year ago. He was 5th in the league in on-base percentage, tied 7th in walks, and 9th in hits. 290 average, 4th in MVP voting, but not good enough for the All-Star game, which he has played.
RBIs, Greg. That's all I'm talking about.
I mean, come
100
on.
RBIs.
This one's pulled inside of first, and he's having himself a night here on MLB Network. That's down into the corner, trying to pick up his third base coach. He gets the wave around. Here's the throw. He's in there with a triple.
Yeah, nice job by Perdomo. Just sneaks one down the right field line. And if there's one thing that every Arizona Diamondbacks player does, it's run the bases really well. You can see here, he's hitting that inside corner with that right foot to be able to get a good turn around the bases. To get a nice clean slide into third base for an easy triple.
Great job by our cameras getting a look at him, watching Carlos Febres, his third base coach. So Perdomo, 5 triples last year. His second hit brings up Fernando Tatis Jr., who's been on all 3 times. A single, an RBI double, a walk, and a run. Fernando.
You know, a lot of times, Greg, too, when you're making that round, that turn around first base, and you're looking towards over your right shoulder, right towards the right field corner. Like at that point, you're making that decision on your own. You know what you got to do to be able to get to third, and if you can make it or not. And I think in that situation, Perdomo knew, like, you know, he had the time to be able to get to third base without much of a play. And like I said, there's something, you know, Arizona, playing for Arizona for a couple of years during my career. Dave McKay, the first base and base running coach there, he makes sure those guys are turning the corners on those bags pretty sharply.
So Dave, if you're watching right now, Alex still remembers your teachings, and your current pupils have clearly paid attention. So Fernando's still in there at 2-2. Hannafy, the third pitcher out of the bullpen tonight for A.J. Hinch. And that's through the infield to score Perdomo. Fernando Tatis Jr., 3 for 3 with a couple of ribbies.
See, this is what makes Fernando and so many of these Dominican players so dangerous. 1-2 pitch right here. You're down in the count. Doesn't try to do too much. Stays back. Gets himself a little jammed right here, and is able to drive the run in. But it's just 2-strike approach. That's what it is, Greg. Like you could tell there, 1-2 count. He's not trying to do too much and make some contact, make something happen.
Fernando gets a standing ovation on a night where he lit the fuse at the top of the order. Ahmed Rosario now pinch running, or a pinch hitting for Ketel Marte. So a couple of changes here. Regulars starting to come out in the bottom of the 5th. And it's Socrates Brito pinch running over at first for Nando.
Yeah, this pitch from Hannafy, the sinker running way in on Rosario. Gets him right in the handle.
Rosario lashes one the other way. He's in on the fun with a base hit. And ever since I made that passing comment about all the singles, this offense has erupted.
Yeah, they've come out really, swinging the bat since the last inning, and just feasting on some mistakes here from these Tigers pitchers. Breaking ball kind of up in the zone, and Rosario fights it off for a base hit to right field here.
So we're going to keep an eye on the changes coming in for the Dominican Republic. Figure that the Tigers might do the same. Still early in the spring. Soto stays in, and he stays on it. A bullet into right field. Scores another DR run, and it's a 10 spot.
Yeah, we've seen an aggressive Juan Soto his last couple ABs. Gets a first pitch fastball, being aggressive with guys in scoring position right here. Base hit to right field. And Socrates Brito is able to kind of stumble and bumble into home plate here.
A little Chris Berman right there. Stumbling and bumbling. So Soto leaves to an ovation. You want to go out after doing something big. And the top of this order has done just that.
Well, you can tell this is more than just an exhibition game for this Dominican team. You know, with kind of the story of the tragedy. You know, the overall impact that this is having for the country, for this island. You know, there's a lot of energy in that ballpark right now, and these guys are feeding off of it.
Well, here's the elder statesman of this group, Carlos Santana, pinch hitting for Vladdy. And even though this offense has churned out 10 runs on 13 hits, Vladdy was 0 for 3. Junior Lake, the pinch runner, on for Soto. And Santana, the veteran, staring at a strike. Carlos Santana, so smooth. Turns 40 next month. Back for his third WBC. He didn't play in 2023. And he is the last player from the Dominicans' 2013 championship team that's still active in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, we came up around the same time, him with Cleveland and myself with Detroit, and played against each other in the minor leagues coming up before as well. So I know Carlos very well, and his ability to be able to put together a good quality at bat. Always had a great eye at the plate. What he's done 17 years in the big leagues is truly remarkable.
About to begin his first year with the Diamondbacks. And certain guys you love seeing stick around. Baseball is just better with them in it. Carlos Santana certainly falls under that category.
Has been a really good Major League player for a long time.
So Hannafy trying to work his way out of the hole. And Santana makes it even harder with a base hit back through the middle. Here comes Rosario. It's a 7-run lead for the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, Hannafy's trying to go in with the fastball right here. Ball sinks out over the plate, and Carlos Santana does a nice job just hitting a base hit up the middle. Good solid contact.
10 of the last 14 Dominican hitters have base hits since the start of the 4th inning.
Hitting's contagious.
Well, in that case, everybody's sick. Very sick right now. That's not Manny Machado. He takes outside, ball 1. So Manny's night is done after that long home run back in the 4th. Michael De Leon is the batter. So you're seeing some guys who are not on the official roster but are part of that floating squad. Michael De Leon being one of them. Socrates Brito, who scored as a pinch runner for Tatis earlier, also part of that player pool.
Yeah, that one stings right there. De Leon getting one off the shin. That's never a good feeling. Just shake that one off. He's got adrenaline pumping through those veins right now.
Yeah, you're still feeling those all these years later. Two and one from Hannafy. He was approaching 30 pitches. All the big names are starting to filter into the dugout for the Dominican Republic. And now a grounder to second. McKinstry goes to the bag, and then back to first for a double play. And the Tigers desperately needed that to escape the fifth. But the Tigers tack on 3 more. At the end of 5, they're up 11-4.
It was a defensive play so iconic that we simply call it the catch.
This is the glove Willie Mays had when he made that catch. This is great.
Oakland pitcher Dave Stewart was named the World Series MVP.
It really comes from like the kings of Siam would give their courtiers white elephants, which were sacred animals.
They need to know this story. That's amazing.
Nobody could steal a base like Ricky.
I'm the greatest of all time. Thank you.
So imagine making steals in these stuff.
So these are tie cups.
These are tie cups.
So what I want to know is, were they ever swabbed for the DNA of opposing pitchers?
Roberts is no stranger to stolen bases himself.
That's what makes it special, is that everybody knew he was going to steal.
Roberts is going. Safe.
You know what they say, one great play deserves another. Go to baseballhall.org to plan your visit to the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown, New York, and catch every episode of Hall of Fame Connections on MLB.tv.
To be in, the middle of New York to display a card like this is really such a big part of the Fanatics mission. You know, we think about how do we create new experiences. Now we get the opportunity to put incredible Holy Grail cards in front of tens of thousands, if not millions of new people. It's not just about collectors today, but also about how do we bring new collectors into the space as well. It's really what we do it all for.
Homered in the first, his 3rd leadoff home run in the postseason. Oh my goodness! Shohei Ohtani! Wow! Up and over the roof! A majestic blast! Ohtani drops jaws everywhere! And it's 4-0 Dodgers!
117 off the bat, 469 feet. He is the first Dodger to ever have 2 multi-home run games in the same postseason.
Orchestras. The World Baseball Classic returns tomorrow. Scan the QR code to see the full schedule. Expect everything. And if you've been scoring this game, you can expect everything because the Dominican Republic has gone to the well. They've made numerous defensive changes. They've also gone back to the bullpen. It's Abner Uribe taking over here in the 6th.
No, that's why, Greg, there's not a single mark on my scorecard. Because I knew where this game was going to go. I'll let you take care of that.
That's my job. You just hang and sit tight. First pitch outside, so I'm going to get the changes to you as I write them in. That's how we're going to do this. So right now, we've got Agustin Ramirez back behind the plate in place of Austin Wells. O'Neill Cruz in center field for Julio, and then Jeremy Pena in at shortstop for Geraldo Perdomo. Michael De Leon over at third for Manny Machado. And there's a strike, 1-2 from Uribe.
Yeah, Uribe really coming in, pumping the heat already. 101 with that first pitch, 99 to 100.
See, that's the problem with all these changes. I can't even appreciate 101 right now. I got to make sure that all the bookkeeping is kept in order. Nice job by McKinstry to fight it off. Still 1-2.
Well, Uribe with one of the best fastballs in baseball. You know, he's got, I mean, I call it a fastball, they call it a sinker. Statcast does, but, you know, anywhere from 98 to 101. And then he's got that slider right there, devastating slider that, I mean, if you're a hitter, you got to pick one or the other. Really tough to cover both.
All right, so I think we got it, partner. Ahmed Rosario's at second. Carlos Santana's at first. Socrates Brito's in right. Junior Lake's in left. And now we can focus on Abner Uribe with another 1-2.
Oh, that was a nice job on your part, getting through that, getting all those changes.
You know what? You watch enough hockey, you use the guys 5 at a time jumping over the boards. In this case, we just switched all 9. No big deal. 7, 8, and 9 here for the Tigers. And McKinstry waves at it for out number 1.
Yeah, that's what Uribe can do to you right here with that big fastball. It gets you to commit to pitches that you really don't want to commit, and gets McKinstry chasing outside the zone right there on a breaking ball.
You know, Abner Uribe is so young, turns 26 in June. I could see him playing in 2 more of these when all's said and done. And he has that kind of weaponry.
Well, I mean, for someone that throws as hard as he does, and as violent as he kind of comes at you, he's able to kind of bring down that walk rate a little bit each and every year, to really hone in and fill up the strike zone. That's always going to be the key with guys that throw with big velocities, being able to throw enough strikes to get the hitter to commit.
Pat Murphy loved him last year, used him quite a bit in the playoffs, including 3 of the 4 in the NLCS sweep against the Dodgers. Abner Uribe last year, 3-2, 1.67 ERA in 75 games. So you pair him with Trevor McGill. You have 2 of the hardest throwers in the sport, covering the late innings from Milwaukee. Tyrone Lorenzo, the DH tonight for the Tigers. 1 for 2 with a single and a run. We love A.J. Hinch because he hasn't made any changes to his lineup up to this point. 3-1.
Well, that's just not fair right there.
No, it's not.
3-1, as a hitter up there with the guy that throws 98, 99, you're kind of expecting fastball the way right there, trying to gear up to catch up to it, and he drops in a slider backdoor to get back to this count.
Looking from the extreme first base side. Is that a sword? I think we got one. That's a nasty slider from Uribe. Back-to-back punch-outs here in the 6th.
Yeah, he's able to get back in the count with a 3-1 slider. And after throwing it for a strike, that's how you get the chase after that. You throw the strike to ball one after throwing it for a strike to prove that you can do that, and you get the chase.
Jake Rogers trying to erase an 0 for 2. A couple of strikeouts in the 2nd and the 4th.
I was just taking a look at Ramirez's catching gear back there. He's got 1 blue shin guard and 1 red shin guard.
I can't say I've ever seen that before.
No, that's on par though.
And I'd imagine that if he tried that in a big league game, that would not be allowed.
Well, I think that, there's certain times where you can, he's showing some national pride right there with the colors on the catching gear. I like that. But sometimes, for those special days, Mother's Day, Father's Day, you get a little extra flair in your gear.
Listen, I'm for the multicolored equipment. I just don't want to see him get sent to the principal's office if he tries bringing it back to the U.S. Jake Rogers is not a guy that's going to be wearing colorful gear behind the plate. He is gritty, hard-nosed, Canyon, Texas kid. Tarek Skubal's personal catcher 2 years ago for his first Cy Young year. And it's all come full circle for him because he was one of the 3 players that came to Detroit in the trade that sent Justin Verlander to the Astros.
Yeah, how about that? Now he's catching him.
And Uribe strikes out the side. Firing bullets and taming the Tigers. A little celebration at the end. Well deserved. All DR in Santo Domingo tonight.
To those who never got over.
There's another ball. It scoots over near the Phillies dugout, and this ball is going to it stays on the lip. And Schmidt's going to try to come home. Nobody's covering. Oh my goodness. The New York Mets flat fell asleep. No one covered home. I have never in my life seen that.
C.B. Buckner entertaining the crowd a little bit.
Yeah, there you go. Chopper off the plate. That's a fair ball. Foul.
foul ball.
Why is that a foul ball?
Oh, that's why. Oh, my.
The awkward look of the play continues. He is going to be a dead duck.
What a slide.
It was a defensive play so iconic that we simply call it the catch.
This is the glove Willie Mays had when he made that catch. This is great.
Oakland pitcher Dave Stewart was named the World Series MVP.
It really comes from like the kings of Siam would give their courtiers white elephants, which were sacred animals.
They need to know this story. That's amazing.
Nobody could steal a base like Ricky.
I'm the greatest of all time. Thank you.
So imagine making steals in these stuff.
So these are tie cups.
And these are tie cups.
So what I want to know is, were they ever swabbed for the DNA of opposing pitchers?
Roberts is no stranger to stolen bases himself.
That's what makes it special, is that everybody knew he was going to steal.
Roberts is going. Safe.
You know what they say, one great play deserves another. Go to baseballhall.org to plan your visit to the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown, New York, and catch every episode of Hall of Fame Connections on MLB.tv.
Well, we certainly served it up over the plate. This is a burger fit for a home run king, the 99 burger in honor of Aaron Judge. They sell a bazillion of these at Yankee Stadium. It looks pretty good. I feel like we passed the test. What about you?
I think so.
Even more than I am. But most career home runs as a player who eventually managed the WBC team. And we've got Andrew Jones for the Netherlands this year, Mike Piazza for Team Italy. Just added to the list of achievements.
Don't be remiss, Sadahara O there with 868 career home runs in Japan. The great Sadahara O.
New pitcher for the Tigers, lefty Brian Sammons. And he gets Caminero, still in the game as the DH, and you can't take this guy out right now. He's 3 for 3 with 2 singles and a solo home run the other way.
Yeah, he's really kind of come on and been feeding off this crowd. He just looks comfortable and ready. Already a mid-season form, it seems like, for Junior.
Lots been made about his defense over at third. He's talked about wanting to win a Gold Glove, and I think he's going to have his work cut out for him, but certainly athletic enough to make strides over there this year. Also have to adjust to playing back inside of Tropicana Field. How about a 4 for 4 night for the 22-year-old?
Yeah, just a fantastic night so far for Junior. 4 for 4, gets a breaking ball up in the zone, and just he generates so much bat speed and whip with that swing of his that, you know, really doesn't matter. He can handle any pitch really in any zone. Line to line hitter, power to all fields. You know, one thing they were talking about, like, you knew he was going to have the power, but he was going to be able to put together and be a complete hitter, and he showed that last year and is on his way for what looks like to be another great year with a little WBC mixed in here.
O'Neill Cruz, first time at the plate, takes over for Julio Rodriguez in center field. Julio came up 3 times, walked twice. Well, early looks here. Haven't seen a whole lot of O'Neill Cruz in the Grateful League, but it looks like he's made some tweaks to his stance.
Well, he has made adjustments, and he has talked about actually, you know, being able to handle left-handed pitching much better than he has so far in his career. Actually hired a personal left-handed batting practice thrower for the offseason to be able to practice a little bit more.
That's just unlucky. Right at Torkelson, right at Chris Myers over at first, just came on in place of Torkelson. And the lineout doubles up Caminero. He had no chance to get back.
Yeah, he stays on this breaking ball really nice and hits a missile, just, you know, wrong place, wrong time, right at the first baseman. But yeah, getting back to O'Neill, like he made it a point this offseason, like he wanted to absolutely improve against left-handed pitching, and had a nice at-bat there against him.
So the same thing here. We're going to get the Tigers changes for you as I fill them out. We got Bennett Lee behind the plate. Jack Penny's at second now. Gage Workman over at third. You saw Chris Myers over there at first make the play. And the veteran Corey Jolks out in left field for Riley Green. Special assist right there for our ace researcher, Sam Auerbach, for keeping us up to date. Well, Sam, you've officially been hired for the high school All-American game. Good luck in August. 2-0, Rick Fowl. Because there are no rules in that. That's a story for another time. So the starters to come out: McKinstry, Green, Torkelson, Keith, and Rogers.
Heads up in that camera, Will.
Look alive.
Ramirez had a nice rookie season last year for the Marlins. You know, hitting 21 home runs and 67 RBIs. He finished 6th in the Rookie of the Year voting. I mean, he can swing the bat. He can really hit. It's a work in progress behind the plate. But if there's one thing that he definitely has, it's the hit tool.
So part of a larger conversation, which hopefully we can get to here with a 3-2 and 2 outs, but because there are more holes in his defensive game, what would you work on with him first? You can't do everything all at once. What would be priority number one with him defensively?
Well, he needs to learn how to, as far as his positioning, his footwork. Look at that. There's the bat.
He said he could hit. He heard you.
I think what he's done a lot over the course of last season and even the previous season, as we see here, just he's got a violent swing from the left side, but makes a good amount of contact. For a young guy, has a very mature approach and has always been able to really swing the bat. But behind the plate, struggled a bit, not just a bit, but he struggled defensively and had some really tough games where he was trying to kind of toe the line of helping his pitcher when it comes to framing, but also making sure that he was in the right position to catch the ball, block the ball, and throw runners out. So there's still a lot of work when it comes to his setup and his footwork that he's trying to accomplish there in order to make him comfortable to be able to do all three of those facets well as a big league catcher. So that work continues.
I was going to say, that does not happen overnight. Jeremy Pena's first debut, fights one off, a ball and a strike. How about Geraldo Perdomo in the 9 spot? And I think Alex teed it up perfectly. Imagine having this guy in your 9 hole, and here's what you can dream up tonight: an RBI, a single, a triple, and 2 runs. Jeremy Pena, former World Series MVP. Had been an All-Star last year, but got hurt and was replaced, but really put together a nice year for the Astros.
Yeah, he's really started to come onto his own, having that sensational, playoff run in his rookie season with the Astros. Has battled some injuries, but he looks great in a baseball uniform, and I just love his athleticism.
Works the count in his favor, 3-1. He was officially an All-Star, but was unable to play in the game because he was on the IL. The 2022 season that Alex referenced, the Gold Glove, ALCS, and World Series MVP. And now a fly into right field. This one is back, this one's carrying, and this one is off the wall. Jeremy Pena is going for 3. And he's got it no problem. An RBI triple and another run for the Dominican.
Yeah, Pena just gets a pitch on the outer half right here, and it just shows his strength and his power, being able to drive this ball to right field. Perez does a nice job trying to track it, but trying to find the wall at the same time comes up a little bit short, and because of that carom, Pena is able to go all the way around to third.
Jeremy Pena hit 2 triples last year. He was 5th in the AL with a 304 average. And he is a great guy to have if you're not going to start him. Seems like everybody in this game in the Dominican lineup has a hit, and that's what it feels like. 12 runs, 17 hits. Strike on Socrates Brito. First plate appearance, came out as a pinch runner for Tatis in the 5th. Brian Sammons trying to send this game to the 7th. And there's Jack Penny tested, throwing out Brito to retire the side. But the Dominican Republic adds another run. They've scored in 4 of their 6 innings tonight and take control going to the 7th.
We wanted to introduce something new. And then working in some of our past and what the past can look like in the future. I think our players absolutely love it, and our fans, we think they'll learn to love it, especially if you can win in it. You know, that kind of solves everything.
All right, I got a couple packs of 1986 Topps baseball cards. Let's open them up and see who's in here. I love the bubble gum. Oh my. Tom Seaver, but with a White Sox uniform on. The franchise for the Mets. I played with him in 1983, my rookie season. I was just in awe with these guys when I saw them in spring training and got a chance to play with them. Baseball cards of memories.
Here we are, Arlington, Texas. This is the Graham Slam Burger. So 2 patties, brisket, caramelized onion, American cheese, ranch aioli, or ranch mayo, if you will.
Oh yeah, we're in Texas.
Yeah.
It's something that you definitely want to take a picture of and just put on the gram. I took a bite of it, but it still looks dope.
It's a burger that looks great, but also delicious.
Speaking of upper body commando, no shame in their game.
Oh, hit the bat, and then the bat hit the helmet. It's a trick shot.
The big kitty's here. Well, the therapy rabbit, you mean?
Oh! Error on Andy Rodriguez, the Pirates' first baseman, who's fairly camped underneath it.
It's pretty cold down here, and I needed a hat. I didn't have one, so Mr. Met lent me his.
Oh, nobody caught it! Boy, all sorts of communication issues between Rojas and Sosa.
MLB Network. The pitcher for the Dominican Republic is Yankees right-hander Camilo Doval. As you get a look inside of Santo Domingo's Estadio Quisqueya Juan Marichal. Well, something that we haven't really talked about, Alex, in the midst of all this offense, the relievers that have been trotting out of the DR bullpen tonight have locked it down.
Yeah, Albert has definitely have a stable of fantastic arms coming out of that Dominican bullpen. And Duvall, you know, with the Giants and Yankees last year, you can see his numbers right there, throwing to a 3.58 ERA, 72 strikeouts to the 35 walks. But, you know, another big arm for this bullpen. You know, big fastball with that slider combination. You know, has had some bouts with some walks in the past, but you know, another option for Albert Pujols with some real good swing and miss stuff, and like can really shut down any lineup.
The stories tonight: the Dominican offense erupting in the 4th and the 5th, and Kevin McGonigal, baseball's consensus #2 prospect, who's driven in 3 of the 4 Tigers runs.
Yeah, the quality of his at-bats tonight, he's definitely been the story on the Tigers side, trying to do everything he can to make that ball club. He's really put on a great showing tonight.
Got it started with a solo shot on the very first pitch from Luis Severino. And a really good take right there on a tough pitch from Domo.
Yeah, I mean, some of his at-bats, like you said, the takes he's making, you know, right there definitely holds up, doesn't go on that one.
Is he doing a little Soto right there?
Yeah, a little Soto shuffle.
A little Soto going on. 2-1. He just looks polished,
well,
you know?
He looks comfortable.
Oh, man.
He looks hitterish up there right now. Like, you can tell he's seeing the ball really, really well. You know, you can see it there, you know, some of those scouting notes right there. That they're calling him arguably one of the best hitting prospects of the 2020s right there, just missing one on another good swing Like his at bats, like he seems like he's on everything. You know, he's seeing the ball really well. So, you know, it's going to be a tough decision, I think, for AJ and his staff as far as like whether they take him to Detroit or not to start the year.
Arizona Fall League MVP back in November. Midwest League Prospect of the Year last year. Great shot from behind the plate of Domo getting ready. Florida State League MVP 2 years ago from McGonigal. And boy, he has lived up to every bit of hype. The kid is on a tear, and he's 3 for 3. And how cool is that? He gets to hug the 39-year-old who probably could drive him to the field tomorrow in Carlos Santana.
Well, he gets a breaking ball slider here from Duvall, and it's a nice hard base hit to right field, and that's going to be his night.
I was going to say, go out on top, young man. Nicely done. Kevin McGonigal, one of his first big showings on national TV here on MLB Network. A perfect 3 for 3 with 3 RBIs for the Tigers. And now the veteran Corey Julks getting his first AB in place of Riley Green. Woody Hadeen, the pinch runner, now at first. Julks in the air to left center. O'Neill Cruz makes the play.
Yeah, nice seeing Cruz getting some reps out in center field. You know, that's another thing that I think in his game, like, really been working hard at for the Pirates. You know, had some struggles out defensively in center field, and you know, wanting to be more of a complete player. He's got all the tools, so looking for him to really start to put it together.
And what I think will help him too this year, Alex, is the big bats that they brought in. You know, guys like Ozuna to clog up the middle of the order. I mean, they brought in 69 home runs, so suddenly O'Neill Cruz does not have to be the focal point of the lineup with Brian Reynolds. I think it makes him more of a secondary piece, which I think for right now is a good spot for him. And there's a nice piece from Wencel Perez, his second single of the night. So he's 2 out of 4.
Yeah, Wencel gets another breaking ball from Duvall there up over the plate, kind of gets underneath it, does a nice job of driving it to right field.
Chris Myers on his way to the plate for the first time in place of Spencer Torkelson, and Perez, like McGonigal, comes out after a single.
You know he's excited to be able to put a good showing on in front of his home crowd and some family and friends as well.
Strike one from Doval, who's going to have a much bigger role this year for the Yankees. Came over at the deadline, and if you look at the Yankees' offseason moves, really didn't do a whole lot to alter their bullpen. So Doval now a full-time member, plus the losses of Luke Weaver and Devin Williams to the Mets.
Yeah, I think between him and Bednar, that's a pretty good combination at the back end of games right there for him.
We'll see the Renegade with Team USA. Had a great time with you last night, by the way, doing that Team USA preview show. And a swing and a miss. That one rising out of the zone. Doval's got the strikeout. He might have thought there were 3 outs. He'll stick around for one more.
Yeah, his fastball right here just got so much run to the arm side right there, where he's able to get the chase off the plate.
Colt Keith came out earlier for Gage Workman. So you look, it wasn't all bad for the Tigers. 1 through 5 in the order. You look at McGonigal with his night, and then Perez and Keith with a couple of base hits.
A lot of guys with some high numbers in the game right now. That's all right. I remember I had number 75 my first.
That was your first one?
Yeah.
You didn't care. It had the Tigers on it. You were happy.
Yeah, I was in big league camp.
Ball 1 on Gage Workman. See his numbers from a year ago. Got a couple of espressos with the Chicago teams. Tapper back to Doval, gets up for it, and funnels it to Santana to end the inning. 2 singles, nothing else for the Tigers. They haven't scored since the 4th. Time to stretch in Santo Domingo. They're having a party tonight.
What else is going to happen today? Henderson's bat goes flying into the stands on a strikeout.
That's not good right there.
See Andy looking at it like, hey, not supposed to be doing that.
Yeah, stick to basketball there, right?
Oh, no catch. Love to get that one back.
Alonso lost the bat as he flung at that high fastball.
That's going to keep him up tonight. Can't make that catch.
You got to keep that clean, right? You got to catch that.
It's done. He just missed this one, hitting it a ton. Will it stay in the park against the wall? It is off the glove, and it's gone. It's gone. Unbelievable. It was in the ballpark, but it bounced off Nady's glove over the fence for a homer, and Dunn says, I'll take it.
Boomer is the dog. Said he looked good. I just followed his pitch all the way. And there he is. Boomer's dad.
That was kind of a change from the everyday thing that we normally do as far as baseball cards are concerned.
Hey, I have a Labrador. Where's my card?
You know, a little bit different, and it turned out to be a fun experience.
It was just when the camera crew tried to leave that there was a problem. You can't leave.
Taken out of the game as a pitcher, but the Ohtani rule allows him to stay in as the DH. Ohtani, did he? Ohtani! Ohtani has done it again! His 3rd home run! An all-time game for an all-time player. 3 homers. He makes it 5-0. 114
off the bat, and this one only 427.
The opposite way.
Yep, he's alive. He's back.
Inning. That's a pretty good show, as well as minor league action. Get MLB Plus for $59.99 a year. Back here with Alex Avila, I'm Greg Caserta. So good to be with you for the first of 2 exhibitions here at Estadio Quisqueya Juan Marichal, which can be a mouthful, but I think if you really think it out, you can get through.
Yeah, I've played a few games in that stadium, and
Rosario right at Workman. That one ate him up. Karam's into foul ground. Not really sure if that took a hop on him. I met Rosario. 2nd straight inning, he gets on base.
yeah, it looks like here on this ground ball, just kind of trying to stays back, and it kind of caroms up and takes a funky hop on Workman. Not able to kind of corral that and make the scoop, but ends up being in there.
So a couple of changes here for the Tigers. Woody Hadeen still at shortstop for Kevin McGonigal. Max Clark actually stayed in the game. He goes from center to right for Wencel Perez. And now Seth Stevenson takes over in center. After the error by Workman, a big swing by Junior Lake for strike one. Junior Lake, a late add to this Dominican Republic team. And the Johan Rojas no longer eligible to play in this World Baseball Classic. Ground ball to third, a chance for Workman to redeem himself. The flip and the turn, not in time to get two.
Yeah, with the slow roller here from Lake. Workman does a nice job to be able to get the feed there, but Lake running, hustling down the line and able to beat the throw from the second baseman, and the Tigers have to settle for one.
Junior's played primarily in the Dominican Winter League for Leones. Last year in the Mexican League, he had quite the year. 299, 16 homers, and 60 ribbies in just 89 games.
Well, he's always had the power. It was just a matter of him trying to be able to be a little more consistent when it came to making contact, but he definitely has power.
There's Carlos Santana, an RBI single his first time. I think it's got to be for the young guys that know Carlos Santana, his fellow countrymen. They have to be giving him a lot of ribbing in that clubhouse as the grandpa of this group.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that while I'm sitting here having played against Carlos for as long as I did, because it's hard to think of like, okay, we're about 40 years old, how he's like one of the elder statesmen on that team.
Slow roller to third. Everything's finding Workman, and he has another issue with it. Nothing's been routine. These 3 balls hit to third.
Yeah, Workman, who's typically pretty sure-handed in the field, on a slow roller up here, kind of indecisive whether he was going to try to go to second base or just get the out at first. In those situations, a lot of times you want to just be able to, get one, but just ends up misplaying that. Usually pretty sure-handed.
Quick mound visit from Bennett Lee. He goes out to calm down the left-hander Brian Sammons.
Yeah, I think in that situation right there, they're just kind of going through signs. I don't think they're using pitch comm in this game, so with the guy on second base trying to decide whether they're going to use multiple signs or just go with the one sign.
Ends up being an infield single for Carlos Santana, 2 for 2. 12 runs, 18 hits for the Dominican Republic squad. Michael De Leon, the batter. And check down at first. No swing, says Brian Honor. You be the judge.
Well, let's take a look at it here. Borderline right there. A lot of times, it's the umpire's judgment whether he win or not. Some guys try to look for the break of the wrist or if it crosses the plate.
Grounded to short, and somehow they get the flip off. Had a chance to end it with a double play, but Hadeen juggled it. Was able to recover and flip it to Penny for the force.
Yeah, some defensive miscues here for the Tigers in this inning right here. Just not able to get a handle on the ball. What would have been a routine double play ends up being just the one out at second base. Good recover, though.
Tigers were a top 10 team in defensive runs saved a year ago. They've had a case of the juggles here in the 7th. Runners at the corners. And ball one up top. Mel Rojas Jr. taking over for Junior Caminero, who finishes up 4 for 4 in his first exhibition. All right, Mel. Your turn. Ball and a strike. It's an 8-run game, but they're still screaming.
Well, yeah, the energy in that place, that's not going away, no matter what.
Did you have mostly positive experiences playing there?
Oh, I had an absolute great time playing winter ball in the Dominican. It's a fantastic experience. I would always tell guys, after that, and I grew up, going to the Dominican quite a bit and spending summers as a kid there with my grandfather. But playing winter ball there, I tell guys coming up, especially American guys, to take that opportunity to go if you have that opportunity to experience something different, because it's a great form of baseball.
Good spot right there from Sammons. He freezes Rojas and ends the bottom of the 7th. 2 left at the corners. We're on to the 8th.
MLB Tonight is back in mid-season form.
Yes, Scooter, you made the phrase, holy cow, popular. So, at this time, Scooter, your friends have decided to present you with your own holy cow. You know, I'm not sure that was rehearsed beforehand.
So these is MLB Network talent stars.
Okay.
The stars of MLB Network. Can I trade a pack of these for a signed Lawrence Shahadi card?
How about we do a little bit of both? Money, a little trade.
Will you open it up and see if you like it?
They're really nice.
If I sign it, does that equal the Lawrence Shahadi 20?
All right.
Do we have a good trade?
We have a good trade. Thank you so much. That was fun.
Nice doing business with you.
Homered in the first, his third leadoff home run in the postseason. Oh my goodness! Shohei Ohtani! Wow! Up and over the roof! A majestic blast! Ohtani drops jaws everywhere! And it's 4-0 Dodgers!
117 off the bat, 469 feet. He is the first Dodger to ever have two multi-home run games in the same postseason.
Guess who that is? Roger McDowell. Check him out. He has his uniform on upside down with the shoes on the hand, and it looks like he's walking on his hands. Has his cap hanging down. That's supposed to be his head. Well, the Mets really trying to turn it around. They do, however, trail in this ball game 4-0. I love that.
Family photo albums and dug up this gem from 1987 in the Dominican Republic.
Well, I mean, Greg, right here, that's my grandfather on the left, and Peter O'Malley there on the right. This was the grand opening, really, of Campos Las Palmas there in the Dominican Republic, the very first academy by a Major League Baseball team in the Dominican, which is kind of like the brainchild of Al Campanis, Peter O'Malley, and my grandfather to really invest into that island. You know, they saw the Dodgers were one of the first teams to really kind of start tapping into the talent in the Dominican Republic, with my grandfather kind of spearheading that. Him and Epi Guerrero, a longtime great scout, you know, kind of were really the first to really go through and notice the talent in Dominican, and it kind of started a little bit of a revolution as far as the type of players and the quality of players coming through. But that camp right there was the first of its kind, where they would develop the players. They'd go through English and math class as well to help them, assimilate for whenever they do come to the United States. And was a tremendous thing that the Dodgers did, and for that island, they really put the time and energy to invest in the Dominican Republic. But there's some great players that came through there. Pedro Martinez, Ramon Martinez, Raul Mondesi, Mariano Duncan, Jose Vizcaíno, Adrian Beltre, another one. They sent Mike Piazza there after they drafted him to develop as a catcher. So it's the Dominican's a special place for our family.
So you went down there as a young kid, and while we were going down memory lane here, a strikeout from Wandy Peralta and a liner over to first, caught by Santana. Jack Penny retired after Ben Malgeri struck out. So two quick ones. This was something that I really wanted us to get into. So you went down there a lot as a kid, you said. You spent a lot of time there, spending summers with your grandfather. So which player do you remember where you were like, wow, I'm in the presence of this guy?
Well, you gotta remember too, those guys, a lot of the players, they're young at the time, 16, 17, 18 years old. So you're not really, you don't know what they're going to end up becoming. But I remember having, some interactions, with Pedro in those years, and Piazza in those early years. But tremendous memories growing up every summer with my grandfather in the Dominican.
Wandy Peralta clearly not a fan of story time. He throws 5 pitches to retire the side. We're through 7.5 in the DR.
Applebee's is...
In the inner right field, Harry Walker in foul territory. And Walker doesn't know how many outs there were. Offerman will go to third.
Walker gave the ball to a fan.
He thought that was the third out. I'm surprised Walker remembered to show up tonight.
Here's the funny part. He goes back to get it, though. That's what's funny.
problem now down the left field line is one of the carts looks like it ran out of gas. This is something out of Keystone Cops right here.
Michael Lorenzen might be in the market for a new glove. Chuck that one in the trash can.
Dropped it on the grass as the pitch was coming.
Nobody's out here to take it away.
Whoops.
The bat even goes farther as a torpedo when it's thrown into the stands. Look at this.
How do you like that? Have you ever seen that before? It just disappeared.
I thought it might have been a home run.
Do you guys make your own brisket here?
Yes, we do. We are known by our brisket.
Barbecue brisket sandwich. Quality is better than other places, and it looks good. We're ready to eat.
We go to an average 500 briskets per game. We hear a lot from our fans. They want to try something with wrap, easy to eat. So we say, well, let's do it like, brisket, wrap, and an egg roll.
That's beautiful. You get the gold medal for culinary brisketry here in Texas.
Yes.
Wow. Old school D-backs jersey. This was our alternate jersey that we wore on Saturdays. I was the first team to wear the new colors. They called it Sedona Red. Don't mess up that color. Every time I wore this jersey, I would wear the high socks, black jersey, black hat. I just thought it was a really smooth look, and this is one that I'll never forget.
Bottom of the 8th, we are playing WBC rules, so 15 or more through 5, 10 or more through 7. It's a 12-4 game as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Greg Caserta, Alex Avila, the rest of our wonderful crew. So happy to be with you for the first of 2 of these exhibition games. O'Neill Cruz sent a scorched liner to first his last time up, but ended up getting into a double play. Brian Salmons still in there. He's been working quite a bit here for the Tigers and slowed this lineup down as they've gone to the bench.
Yeah, Salmon's kind of the long guy, a swing man for A.J. Hinch in this staff. Kind of played both those roles a little bit over the last couple of years for the Tigers in that bullpen.
7, 8, and 9 here for Albert Pujols' squad. 27-year-old Nizayo native O'Neill Cruz. Ready for his 3rd full season.
Yeah, we talked a little bit earlier about him, like really starting to put together all those tools. He's got an incredible amount of baseball tools, and trying to see if he can actually put it together.
Right there. He puts a swing on this one, sends it deep to right, but it dies right up against the wall. And that thing sounded good, looked good, but he just missed.
Yeah, looking at O'Neill Cruz's home run splits, I mean, that swing right there gave me flashbacks of the home run derby, but tremendous power. I mean, we all know that he's got the ability to hit it out of any ballpark, line to line, just an incredible amount of power. It's just a matter of being consistent with those at-bats, not giving at-bats away, finding a way to make quality contact throughout, not just on those ace swings as well, and putting together professional at-bats, because he has all the tools in the world to be one of the stars of this game.
Good job by Ben Maljury to locate the baseball and not get spooked by the wall behind him. So 2 loud outs for O'Neill Cruz.
Yeah, and looking more comfortable against lefties. I mean, lefties really gave him fits last year and had a hard time, really struggled, but a couple of at-bats against Salmons right there looking comfortable.
It's the 24-year-old Agustin Ramirez, who singled and scored in the 6th. Last year for Miami, 231, 21 homers, 67 ribbies, and he's got some wheels, 16 steals, leading all catchers a year ago.
Yeah, how about that, representing from behind the plate in the stolen bag category.
So now I have to ask, I don't do this to you too often.
Are you going to ask me how many stolen bases I had in my career?
What was your high for a year? Do you remember?
No idea. I mean, definitely single digits.
Well, the best is I get to look it up.
I'm going to say under 5.
Going under 5? Okay.
Over, under on 5? What do you think?
Well, according to our research department, you had 3 steals in 2011.
So under 5.
You were an all-star that year.
Funny story, actually. One year going into spring training, Jim Leland tells me, he goes, Alex, I think I'm going to give you the green light more often. not too many people are going to be expecting you to steal. So one day in spring training, I'm on first. Joe West is the first base umpire. And there's a break in the game, right? The pitching coach comes out to talk to the pitcher, and I'm talking to Joe, and I go, "Hey, Joe, might want to watch out for me this year. I'm going to, Leland's going to give me the green light more often to be able to steal some bags." And he starts laughing. He goes, "Good, then the game will go quicker."
That's classic cowboy right there. You had to know you were setting him up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You had to know.
Yeah, no, I knew I was going to get some smart comeback from Joe West there.
You couldn't write a punchline any better than that. So Ramirez works a walk. Look out, Jeremy Pena. He made his own mark on this game with a ribby triple in the 6th. Yeah, you were consistent. 8 steals, 8 caught stealing. We like nice, even numbers.
Oh, that's a terrible ratio.
Pena to chase, 1-1. Bennett Lee doing the catching.
Yeah, that was a nice block right there on the breaking ball in the dirt. One thing about, guys nowadays, catching on a knee, you're typically always going to be down there. That was something when you're in a crouch, you want to be on time to block that pitch. But now with the knee down, you just want to make sure you're getting that chest in front of it.
Can you be a plus defender going into that style?
Oh, no doubt.
Okay.
Yeah, we see it now with a lot of guys. I think Alejandro Kirk does it, I think the best on one knee. You've seen JT Realmuto do it for a long time on one knee. You just have to know yourself really well as far as what you're capable of doing while you're on a knee.
That's a nice piece from Pena. He got it the other way. Ramirez stops at second. And the 9 spot for the Dominican Republic tonight has produced 4 hits. Jeremy Pena, perfectly placed.
Yeah, not doing too much with that, just going the other way with that, and finding the hole right there. That's a good piece of hitting.
Looks like Jeremy's going to wait here for a pitching change. Tigers go into their bullpen. Johan Simon on his way in to try and finish up the bottom of the 8th.
There's a lot going on when Ohtani pitches and hits. So there goes Ohtani. Shohei lighting up the highlights already. It's a leadoff home run after he struck out 3 at the top of the 1st. And the Dodgers lead it 1-0. He hit 55 in the regular season, a Dodger record. And he's gone deep for the 3rd time this postseason, his first of the championship series.
All right, so here is the Mets home jersey. To me, growing up in New York, also a very iconic jersey. The blue pinstripes that represented the Dodgers. Got the orange outline, which represented the Giants, which are the 2 teams that left New York. And then subsequently, the Mets were created. My parents were Mets fans growing up, and this was the jersey that I also dreamed of wearing.
Got to get yourself ready.
Yes, there are hugs, and then there's that.
Now, what is that? What is the purpose of that?
It's an anemometer. It measures wind speed.
So that's good.
But it looks like a fidget spinner.
Meanwhile, on the Cove, it just looks like too much fun.
It was so routine, he took his eye off.
You got to come up with this play. You got to. You're right there. You had 2 hands. He looked it in. Oh.
Featuring stars like Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, and Juan Soto as they take the field to represent their countries. Scan the QR code to see every matchup. Expect everything. Well, we've seen a loaded lineup. Beat up Tigers pitching tonight. Dominican Republic leading 12-4 on 19 hits. And this bullpen behind Luis Severino, who got the start, has been dynamite. Rito back up the middle, right at the shortstop. Takes care of it himself. That's Woody Hedin starting and ending the double play. And the inning comes to an end. So Simone comes in, gets the inning-ending double play. Last chance for Detroit when we come back.
Thinking of updating. How can you go from a South Carolina trailblazer through a tour of the Far East to a Venezuelan's bid for perfection in the Motor City? Find out on Hall of Fame Connections.
Following in the footsteps of those legends named Robinson meant that Dobie didn't always get the attention or the credit that he deserved.
Baseball can be a little bit different, and things aren't always perfect, right?
Biz, born James Raleigh Mackey, was a member of the 1923 Hilldale Club that won the first ever Eastern Colored League championship.
This was reality for these players, and speaks of the segregation, a very somber time.
In 1927, Biz Mackey took part in a 48-game tour of Japan. The 1927 tour was initiated by Japanese-American baseball pioneer Kenichi Zenemura. Years later, during World War II, Zenemura was forced to sell all his belongings and relocate to the Gila River incarceration camp.
They're being denied their freedom, but baseball provides hope, and it gives them an expression of what it is to be an American.
You realize the gravity of the situation, and baseball is that which transcends all of it.
So in 2006, the Tucson Sidewinders, a AAA team for the Arizona Diamondbacks, commemorated that high school game that had been played at Zenemura Field. And then later that season, the Sidewinders win the championship of the league by beating the Toledo Mud Hens. And on that team was Ryan Rayburn.
He watched his Detroit teammate, Armando Galarraga, toss his famous imperfect game.
Another reminder that baseball will always bring people together. Catch every episode of Hall of Fame Connections on MLB.tv and discover your own connections to the game at baseballhall.org.
It happened so fast to close out the bottom of the 8th inning, but Tigers lefty Johan Simon came in and got an inning-ending double play, which had to feel really good for him. He is from La Romana in the Dominican Republic, so very quick appearance. And now it's the 9th inning, last chance for the Tigers. One final pitcher here. Oscar Brazaban of the Mets. Now 36 years old. Wandy Peralta threw 5 strikes and retired the side in order in the 8th.
He's got a really good story, Brazaban does. You know, kind of been a journeyman, but with the Marlins, really found his footing in their bullpen and pitched some really good innings. Had a fantastic first half. Struggled a bit in the second half, you know, little bumps here and there with the Mets, but he's got a really, really nasty changeup.
Another pitch comm issue for Agustin Ramirez. Oscar, a great story. Didn't make his debut until he was 32 years old. That was in 2022. And then last year for the Mets, 52 appearances, ERA of 3.57.
Yeah, between the sinker that he throws and his changeup, I mean, he's getting ground balls a little over 50% of the time, and just a ground ball machine. You know, that's a massive weapon for Albert Pujols in this bullpen, to be able to bring him in certain situations with guys on base when you might need a ground ball to get a double play.
I mean, you were talking about Doug Fister just the other night, ground ball specialist. I know you love guys like that.
Oh yeah.
Bennett Lee, the catchers, there's at strike one.
I love the ability to always try to get a couple of outs with one pitch, and when you have a guy that has the ability to get the ball on the ground like that, it's a plus.
2 quick ones, 96 from Brazaban. Talk about this Dominican bullpen tonight. Really showing the problems that they are going to pose for Pool D. Oh, that's just unfair, and he puts down Lee on 3 pitches.
Yeah, there's that changeup right there. I say changeup, it's 91, but you know, 90, 91 miles an hour. But it's just the movement on that, and you know, the big key about the changeup is the arm action. Like, it looks like heater coming out of his hand, and it just falls off a table.
How about this for this bullpen right now? We're looking at 6 1/3 innings, 4 hits, and 10 strikeouts.
Well,
that's it.
Albert Pujols, trotted out like all the big names that he's got in that bullpen for all them to be able to get some work in front of the home crowd, and they didn't disappoint. They shut down this Tigers offense that, in that first inning after McGonigal hit that home run, they came out swinging.
There was one unearned run mixed in there, which was charged to Dennis Santana. That was when the Tigers scored their last run back in the fourth. Abner Uribe struck out the side. That was in the sixth.
Well, he was absolutely electric. Out of all those guys that came in from the bullpen, what he featured in that inning, striking out the side, was pure filth.
Big swing right there from Woody Hadeen, who came out as a pinch runner in the seventh, so his first official AB. Best part is we get to do this all over again tomorrow, partner. And there's that two-seam run, 97, dotting the inner half for out number 2.
Yeah, that's the equalizer right there. When you're trying to stay on the changeup, he's able to rear back and throw 97, and that ball just catches the inside part of the plate right there, running back, and a nice job by Ramirez to give Ramon behind the plate a good look.
Something about a pretty front door like that just never gets old.
Yeah, sometimes it's tough to pull the trigger when you're a left-handed hitter like that on that pitch.
Well, he gets his work in, and Brazoban strikes out a pair. One more out for the Dominican. The big finish when we come back.
Breaking ball, grounder. Marshall lets Jeffries get it, toss to Cone, he tags the bag. And they say safe. Watch the runner, he's not watching the runner. The runner scores. And Cone's still arguing. Here comes the second runner. The second runner scores. I don't believe I just saw that. I don't believe it.
Well, when we moved downtown San Diego from Qualcomm to Petco Ballpark, new uniforms were on the way, and this is the Padre home white. This jersey is from 2007, which was a career year for myself, winning a Cy Young. There's some different memories that stand out. One in this uniform against the Braves, where I struck out a Padre record 16, wearing this jersey, trying to make the Padre and the Friar faithful proud.
A lot of fans and collectors will look at the T206 set as the more famous of the sets that were produced in the early part of the 20th century. And certainly they would carry more financial value. But when you talk to collectors, some will tell you that these T205s are actually more physically attractive. They're maybe the most physically attractive cards produced prior to World War II.
Sitting inside of Estadio Quisqueya Juan Marichal. A quick turnaround tomorrow, so hopefully some of these people took the day off and they'll be back in the seats. 2 o'clock Eastern, first pitch right here on MLB Network for round 2 between the Tigers and the DR. He's Alex Avila. I'm Greg Caserta. Great crew down the hall in the control room, making sure that we've gotten through. And we've seen a great game. The Dominican Republic exploding in a 5-run fourth inning that featured 3 home runs from Soto, Machado, and Caminero. One final pitcher, Juan Mejia, after back-to-back strikeouts from Brazoban. Corey Julks right back to the mound, and that's going to do it. Stand and cheer. The Dominican Republic wins Game 1 in Santo Domingo.
Yeah, just absolute domination by this Dominican team. The offense really showed up. And highlight of this game, I think, for me, was that bullpen that Albert Pujols was trotting out. They did a fantastic job throughout the night.
Just unbelievable